welcome back to the Cinema Cult Network. I'm Chris.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Honto.
And this week we decided to do I Know What You Did Last Summer based on the children's book. It's
a
kind
young
of
adult.
children's
Young adult.
Like a young adult teenager book.
Okay. Written by Lois Duncan. We have all seen this a couple times.
I saw it in theaters.
Did you really?
1997.
What were the
when this movie came out?
What was the circumstances of you seeing this in theaters? Because how old were you at this time? You would have been.
If this came out, I think this came out in October
You were 18.
12th, 1997. I was 11 years old.
Yeah. So did your parents take you to go see?
I think I was seeing it with a buddy of mine, and his mom dropped us off at the theater, bought us a ticket for this movie, and then,
Snuck in.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
You'd had to have.
our guardian bought the ticket for us.
Yeah.
So,
But you kind of snuck in, right?
No, he had a ticket.
yeah.
Well, you had a ticket, but you snuck. You weren't like.
She bought us a
you didn't
ticket.
buy the ticket.
She bought us a ticket specifically for this movie, and then we went into the theater, got into our seats, and then we watched this movie.
Yeah, but just because somebody buys you beer and they're like, and you're
So
underage.
if someone buys your beer means
And
you're not drinking it. So
Yeah.
if someone buys it for you, you're not really drinking
We
it.
snuck into the beer shop.
What are you trying to get at?
No, that's okay. That's all right. That's just
I know what you're trying to say, but I saw it in all the all the rules were followed in
Yeah.
order to see this movie.
Honto, I'm going to go on a string. Is that what people say? I'm going to go on a string and say, doesn't Honto seem like the type who was really excited to see I Still Know What You Did Last Summer in theaters?
I don't know.
I didn't see that movie in
Really?
theaters, yeah.
Okay.
Actually,
I saw it on VHS.
I saw that one. No, I saw this one first. I saw this one on VHS.
Oh, yeah.
It was actually me and Chris saw it together at his buddy's house. We were staying over.
Really? You remember that? I don't.
Yeah, it was bunk beds. Remember that? I was on the bottom bunk, and those two were on the top bunk, and they kept messing with me while we were watching this movie.
Were they
does.
dangling like a hook in front of your face?
Yeah.
Like, get away.
Actually, I think there was a scare situation that happened.
Oh,
and
nice.
I do kind of remember this.
It's weird, like, when you see certain movies and, like, those, like, memories just kind of come out of the woodworks. You're like, oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
remember exactly the circumstances of me seeing this movie.
I remember the theater we saw it at, which no longer exists.
Was it?
where
Let me guess. It was in the mall.
No, it was off of.
Oh, man, you're getting...
I'll bleep that out.
Okay, so I Know What You Did Last Summer comes out in 1997. Comes out a year after Scream does.
Year after Scream, and it's actually 2 months before Scream 2.
Oh, really? That's weird. So, what do you think it has on Rotten Tomatoes? I think Matt already knows because he looked.
No, I don't know, actually.
don't.
I just saw the Google
I'm gonna
approval rating.
61%.
Okay, Matt.
I'm going to go in the 50s. I'll go in the 50s.
42%.
Wow.
Deservedly so.
Wait, isn't 42% the number that Seth Green uses in Can't Hardly Wait when he's talking about
Seth Green. Oh, Seth Green.
when he's in like the store and he's talking about
His rating
some
for I Know What You
odds
Did
with
Last Summer.
girls? He's like 42% of girls. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
no,
maybe.
I don't.
Well, we'll cover it on the podcast.
Cool.
So yeah, it comes out in 1997. 42% made for $17 million. How much did it make domestically?
I want to go and say the 30s.
Okay.
$100 million.
Okay. 72 million in the U.S.
Damn, Matt. You were like way off.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Worldwide, 150.
Wow.
Yeah, this was during that craze.
I mean, that has the money that earned a sequel.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, what the hell was I thinking? Man, I like really downplayed this.
aiming too low.
$2. Made $2 internationally.
You're doing like the Price is Right rules.
Yeah.
It's got to be somewhere past that.
Dude, that was terrible. That was a terrible guess. I'm sorry.
So this might be, and I'm going to say this for all future podcasts and previous, this might be, you know how like usually we'll start off and we'll have to do research on the actors and what they've been in.
Yeah.
This might be the easiest one we've ever done because I had to look up nothing on any of these actors because
Yeah.
they're all names.
fairly-
They're all people that have been in things.
Yeah.
They're all kind of doing stuff today.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
So we
we'll
got
get there.
main star is Jennifer Love Hewitt from Party of Five fame. She plays Julie. I haven't seen anything of her since.
She was in what, The Ghost Whisperer or the
Oh yeah,
no,
that was a show.
that was her.
one of two psychic shows on TV because the other one was The Medium with
Sarah Michelle Gellar, right?
No, it was Patricia Arquette.
Yeah, Patricia Arquette.
I think Sarah Michelle Gellar had a show too where she was on it. She was on.
She was on a television
On a
show.
show,
I think it was
yeah.
Buffy the Vampire
I don't
Slayer.
know. I don't remember that. You mean Buffy?
Yeah,
No, she had a show a couple years ago that was like a scary show.
she did. Yeah, I know. What you're
I don't
talking about.
remember that.
It's like, is it Revenge or something or something along the lines of like
No, it wasn't Revenge.
I can't remember. I don't know.
I can't.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm okay.
You can go and look it up.
I'm gonna look this up because I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Starring second, Freddie Prinze Jr.
Freddie Prinze.
Who, by the way,
good old-
is married to Sarah Michelle Gellar. I did not know this.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
they're
kinda-
both like semi-retired, and they're just living it up with.
Do
all
you
their
know
millions
Sarah
of
Michelle
dollars.
Gellar revived her role? Not revived her role, but they did like I know what you did last summer themed commercial for the Super Bowl.
No.
Yeah, it was like for
Oh, yeah, I know what
like
you're
makeup or something.
Yeah, I never saw
It's
it,
pretty
but-
awesome.
yeah.
I liked it.
Freddie Prinze Jr. We've seen him in
Freddie, the TV show Freddie.
Oh yeah, he did have a show. Very famous dad.
Yeah.
His dad's
Senior.
name was Freddie Prinze.
Senior.
Freddie Prinze, the
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Uh,
The first.
He was in like 5 movies with Matthew Lillard, and I think
We've talked about
this.
on She's All That.
Yeah, she's all that.
Oh,
I was
and
trying to think.
he's in Scooby Doo again with Sarah
He's in
Michelle
both
Gellar.
those. He's in
Yeah.
Last Starfighter, and in Summer Catch, my fave.
Yeah,
Man, you love that movie.
I probably don't, but
Ever since I met you, I think you've talked about that every single time we've hung out.
well, we've hung out twice. So,
Oh yeah.
speaking of, we have Sarah Michelle Gellar, Buffy the Vampire fame.
I watched that all but the last season.
Yeah, I don't think I ever watched last season.
It's
either.
all because they switched it up from the WB to
CW.
No, it was like UPN or something.
Uh,
It was like right before CW was a
yeah, I think
thing.
you're right.
Oh,
And it
okay,
was
yeah.
like- and then we never had access to that channel.
I
for some
don't
reason.
recall what happened in the last like couple seasons of that show.
They switched like networks basically.
Yeah.
and I didn't have access to that.
That's when I fell off of it too.
I like Buffy.
I do.
I like it. I feel like it hasn't aged well.
Oh, for sure.
It's kind of rough to watch because of just the the effects.
The effects are really goofy. I mean, even back in the day, they were really goofy.
Yeah. But I
Theme
also
song's still
feel
cool.
like
love the theme song.
I feel like with that show, it got to a point where like I feel like it got to a point where they just overdid it.
it was like they kept upping the stakes
Yeah.
each season.
Because you love medium rare steaks.
Yeah, that's what vampires are allergic to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, medium rare steaks.
Okay, keep going.
But they kept raising the stakes each season, and it just kept getting like more and more kind of ridiculous. I felt like.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just kind of like I think I fell off around like season like 3 or 4 or something like that.
Early.
Because how many seasons of the show
Like
were there?
7.
Okay, then I was maybe like 4 or 5. It was. I think when the craze started to die for the show was when I kind of.
I don't think it ever died.
You don't think? Mm-mm. I mean, and like honestly, there's some cool later episodes.
Yeah.
But it was just I think I got like bored with. I think is one of those shows where, like, tighter. It could have been like a phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I know because there's a lot of like there's a
Buffy
lot
heads
of
out
like
there.
Buffy heads out there
Yeah.
that love that show.
Yeah.
And that could do no wrong. But I felt like I kind of got like tired of the show after a while. Maybe I need to go back. I tried going back and rewatching it.
I kind of want to rewatch it now.
But
Yeah,
I couldn't-
there's a name for Buffy fans. It's called Buff Dudes.
Buff dudes.
I guess.
Stupid.
Sure.
And this sounds kind of stupid, and I know a lot of people like would
It's our
shit,
new podcast.
people would shit on me, but I feel like the Buffy movie has aged better than the Buffy show.
I
agree.
would think that the Buffy show, I think I like better than the movie.
And I'm not saying which one I like better. I think the movie has aged better than the show, though.
Okay.
Like the movie's got more rewatch value than the show, and I think the reason why the show has a lack of rewatch is because of the graphics.
No. True.
Yeah,
The
I will
CGI.
say that.
True that.
Can I go on a side tangent just like you did? It's a quick one.
Okay,
Matt, your arms look really big in that shirt.
thanks.
I just
Wow.
wanted to tell you that.
Dude, are you gonna bring anything that's valid?
he's
valid to this
he's
podcast
relating-
today.
He's
That was-
relating it
besides
because
saying buff
you're,
dudes,
because you're
and-
now prepared to do the podcast Buff Dudes.
buff dudes. Welcome to Buff Dudes.
I am a buff dude. So also starring in this movie, Ryan. I always say this wrong.
Ryan Phillippe.
No, it is Felipe.
Felipe.
It's Ryan Felipe.
Ryan Phillippe.
Felipe.
Phillippe.
Which I'm gonna blow Matt's mind. Sometimes I know I'll say things, and Matt will be like, "You're right." So Ryan Felipe and Sarah Michelle Gellar play a couple in this movie. What else did they play a couple in?
Cruel
Intentions.
You didn't blow
But
my
not
mind.
really,
Yeah.
because they're brother and sister in that movie.
Hey, you put rules on love, okay? You do that.
Well, they're like stepbrothers.
yeah, they're totally.
So it's like not as bad as Cersei and Jamie Lannister.
No, it's not as bad as no.
I don't get it.
Oh.
Which is a movie I've been wanting to do on this podcast forever.
Game of Thrones?
Yeah, that
The
whole-
movie. All eight of them.
All 8 seasons.
They made 145 movies of these. Okay, so Ryan Felipe is good in this. I like him. But man, the entire time I was watching it, I was like, man, Matthew Lillard would been really cool in this role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. I think it's weird because I'm watching this movie and I would almost want to see a bunch of like role reversal where it's
Yeah.
like and this actually happened. And here's an IMDb fact for you. Sarah Michelle Gellar auditioned for the role of Julie, which
Okay.
was the audition, or was
Okay.
the, you know.
Yeah, Jennifer
And
Lopez.
honestly, I would have rather have seen Sarah Michelle Gellar lead this movie. She's got an awesome scream, by the way. Probably
think
one of the
she's-
best
I think
screams.
That was one of my
She's
notes,
pretty good.
man. That
She's
was
pretty
one of
good
my
in this
notes.
movie.
Yeah, she's got one of the best screams. Jennifer Love Hewitt's scream is kind of like screechy.
Yeah, and she does it when she does it a few times on that boat.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
I
But
like,
Sarah
turn the
Michelle
volume
Gellar's
down.
is like pure fear, and you're like,
Yeah.
holy shit!
Yeah,
Like she
Sarah's
really
is
like
really
wears
good,
this well.
Yeah.
I would have liked to seen Freddie Prinze Jr. as the dick
yeah.
because he's too much of a nice guy in
He's
this.
way too nice in this movie.
He kind of gets like he's kind of weird in this movie because they kind of they kind of use him as a red herring, but not really. Like they don't show him in the whole movie.
They do it at like the very end. I feel like
Yeah, because they don't show him.
Yeah.
they don't show him the whole movie.
he is kind of in the background of this entire movie,
yeah,
right?
yeah, he's not really there.
Yeah.
And I feel like they like him as the Ryan Phillippe role would be a lot better. But
Yeah.
I don't mind Ryan Phillippe as this.
That was pretty good.
I think he's a little bit too much of a hothead at times.
He's like Kerr Smith from Final Destination. He's just like flipping out for the wrong.
good
reason.
reference.
Yes, that's who I was thinking of.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah,
He's just like flipping out for no reason whatsoever. And you're like, dude, just calm down.
yeah, like
Just
roid
calm down.
rage.
We're all in this together.
Yeah, there's a lot of times where it's like, whoa, that's really exaggerated. Like,
Yeah, and like I think that's where Scary Movie gets right when they make fun of it.
Oh yeah.
Because like there's parts where he's like in Scary Movie where he's like beating the shit out of what's her name. He's like, you're not gonna tell anybody. And just, you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, it is like that. Like
Yeah.
he is really like.
He's like way over the top for
Yeah,
no
dude,
reason.
I want to, for all your
But I
listeners,
don't think it's his fault. I don't think it's his
No,
fault.
no.
For all you listeners at home, I want you to keep a tally of how many times Matt references Scary Movie in this podcast.
Holy
That's
shit,
all
dude.
I was thinking this entire movie.
Those movies really taint.
It's like
spoof movies
it's like
really taint these kind of
It's like
movies.
the Austin Powers for James Bond movies.
Yeah.
Like-
Oh, you know, that's interesting you brought that up. I was listening to a podcast where a girl was talking about watching James Bond movies. And she had grown up in the 90s and had grown up with the Austin Powers movies before the James Bond movies.
Weird. That's a world I don't want to
Yeah,
know.
right? I mean, that's a world we don't know about, right? Because
Yeah.
we're 80s. We grew up with the Bond movies.
We're in
before
our
seeing-
80s and,
Yeah, we're in our 80s. We saw the Bond movies before the Powers movies. And she was like, yeah, because I saw the Powers movies, they tainted my experience watching the Bond movies.
like probably the Daniel Craig and prior to that too. I mean,
yeah, because she's basically like anything with Roger Moore, Sean Connery, Timothy Dalton, George Lazenby, they look stupid because I saw them being spoofed in the Powers movies.
I mean, they are kind of ridiculous
Yeah.
after you watch even just the Daniel Craig stuff.
So if you grew up in the world watching the Scary Movie movies, and then you go back and watch like I Know What You Did Last Summer or Scream, it's like it kind of ruins it for you.
I don't think it ruins it. It doesn't.
I think honestly,
I'll think
I mean,
about it for a
that's
second.
how I felt during Scream, and we brought it up on the podcast.
See, like scenes will pop in my head for like a second, and then I'm like, huh, and then I'll just continue to watch it.
yeah, but I think it ruins it.
Well,
But
it's
it just-
because that's your favorite series, right? And you said Scary Movies,
Yes.
and you said the fifth one is the best one, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Is that the last one?
All time favorite series of movies.
Series all time.
Yeah. Put it on my gravestone.
I do want
You're
to talk
gonna,
about
you're gonna regret that.
a challenge accepted. So the rest of the cast is kind of like in the background because it's really just them four. We have Johnny Galecki of Big Bang Theory fame.
And Roseanne prior to this.
Yeah.
And I will talk about. I don't want to ruin it.
Is he-
Christmas Vacation.
Oh yeah. I always forget that he's in that.
Yeah, I always forget it.
Is this guy good and stuff? I feel like I don't like him.
Really?
I like him.
actually
I
really
totally
like
dig
him.
him.
Really?
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
I never watched a single episode of Big Bang Theory, and I don't plan to
Why?
at all.
Really?
I just every commercial I've seen for it is really just not good.
Too close to home for you?
Yeah, too close. way too accurate.
Sick burn.
Dude, I feel that way when I watch it and they talk about stuff and I'm like, that's me. I'm like, I do that.
He just I don't know. There's something about him. Just like I don't know.
I like him.
if
I liked him on.
this guy.
I like him a
He's like
lot.
one of my favorites on Roseanne, actually.
Yeah.
Honestly,
is he on the new iteration?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
It's really cool to watch him on The Big Bang Theory. I stopped watching that show, by the way. That show, talk about a show that like ran its like course. I stopped watching that show, but then watching him in the revival of the Roseanne show, and he's kind of playing this like he's playing what's his name on Roseanne?
David.
David, and he's like the kind of like this like
He's like not
trouble.
like,
He's like a badass, like kind of a troublemaker, kind of
Like riding a motorcycle.
wrong side of the tracks.
I don't think he's
kind of.
badass.
Yeah, he's definitely the opposite of what he is
Yeah.
in Big
And
Bang
Big Bang
Theory.
Theory. Yeah.
And
That's
he
good.
plays both of them pretty
he
accurately.
plays both sides.
Yeah, he plays both sides, entrapment style. But he does great. I have to like.
Yeah,
I
I
like
like
him a
him in
lot
this,
in this. When he shows up, I'm like, oh, he should have been in this more.
Nice.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool.
We also have, is it Bridget Nielsen?
Bridget?
Neeson?
Bridget?
Bridget
Probably not Nielsen.
Bridget-
No,
probably
it's
not-
Bridget Wilson.
Wilson.
Wilson Sampras. She was married to, I think she's still married to Pete Sampras, famous tennis player.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that went over my head.
Really?
From
He's like one of the most famous tennis players of all
I
time.
I don't watch
follow
tennis,
Yeah.
Oh, really? Wow.
but I know who you're
Guys
talking
are
about.
missing out.
I've heard the name.
He's like he was like the rival of Andre Agassi. You know Andre
okay.
Agassi? He's like the Johnny Galecki of tennis.
He was the David of tennis. That's what they used to say.
You're like the David of tennis.
I only know her from Mortal Kombat and Billy Madison.
yeah.
Oh, and
I know what you did last summer.
House
you
on
were
the
gonna
Hill.
say.
Yeah, House
Oh,
on
yeah,
the
she
Hill.
was in that. That's right.
Which I was actually thinking of during Scary Movie 2 when we were talking about Scary Movie.
Yeah,
The movies for Scary Movie. They kind of spoof House on the Hill, don't they?
yeah, they do. Yeah, they do for a second.
And
yeah.
The Haunting and whatever paranormal.
Matt's our scary movie resident.
aficionado.
expert. Yeah. So anything scary movie, Matt knows.
Anything, man. Anything you want to know. I don't even remember 4 and 5. Kind of.
I will tell you what falls out of place in this movie, and I don't think it's her fault at all, is Anne Heche. I feel like she pops up on screen.
She's just the.
I
She's
feel
for
like
the,
her as an actress, like the role is fine, but I feel like every time she pops up, I'm like, oh yeah, she's in this. And
Yeah.
it feels kind of.
She is misused, I feel like, in a way that I think she does a really good job. And I hadn't seen her in a long time in something. So
Since
watch
Volcano.
Is she in Volcano?
She's like the love interest for
I never
Tommy
saw
Lee
it.
Jones.
Go back to Dante's Peak episode. We've never seen Volcano.
Oh, we should do that for the podcast. I saw
Yeah.
that movie in theaters.
This is my happy face.
I feel though like her in this, she needs to be like that exposition character. That kind of like, hey, this
She's
is what happened.
Constantly popping up or whatever.
But she needs to say more because I feel like the big coming out of this movie, I was like, man, this backstory is so convoluted.
Yeah, I was actually confused with the backstory for this person.
This movie
Yeah.
gets so confusing.
and the guy they show in the very beginning of the movie
Yeah.
on the cliff. Those are the two things I got super confused up until this viewing of the movie, where I actually had to look it up on the internet.
Okay.
Of like, what the hell is going on in
Dude,
this
I
movie?
watched this movie probably like 5 or 6 times,
Yeah,
and it wasn't
probably.
until this time where I was like, I kind of get it.
I was
now.
like,
This is the third time I've seen it.
I get it.
But no, what I'm saying is like I think Anne Heche is like perfect for
you
this
sounded
role.
so proud the way you said, like, I get it.
I get it.
I feel like Anne Heche is perfect for this role because she like sells. She needs to sell this character and she
Yeah.
needs to sell like the backstory, but they don't give her enough backstory to say, and it's so convoluted
She
and
only shows up-
confusing that it's like, okay, like you're not even giving her job. Her job is to give us the backstory.
Yeah.
and she's not doing that.
Like, spill it out pretty much. I think she
But
only
she's
has
great.
Like,
I think she does
I think she
great.
only has like 6 minutes of screen time in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, she's only in like 2 scenes and then only like 2.5.
She
3
does,
minutes each
yeah.
or
I mean, she
whatever.
does fine. I feel like just seeing her because I remember at the time she was kind of becoming a big actress.
Yeah.
and I feel like she pops up.
She did like 6
and-
days, 7 nights, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she
Harrison
had
Ford
a
wrestling.
thing.
Well, I
going.
think her big deal too was that she was dating
Ellen.
Ellen at the
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
and that was kind of like it was I think it was a big deal because Ellen just had came out, right?
it was close around.
Yeah.
it,
It was around that time, and then her first Hollywood girlfriend that everyone kind
Yeah.
of focused on was Anne Heche,
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
right?
Um,
I mean, if I'm getting my history right, I just
No, I
remember
think
this-
that's correct,
I
yeah.
was like what 10, maybe
Yeah.
like 9 at this
well,
time.
you consider yourself an Ellen expert, right?
yes,
Okay.
Ellen.
Actually,
Dude, she's a genuinely like cool person though. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys watch the David Letterman? Like he does that show on Netflix where he interviews
like
celebrities.
the intimate interviews or whatever. Like the
Yeah, dude, watch them. They're like they make you look at like these celebrities in a whole different light. I feel like
they're people they're like us.
they're not though. I feel
Oh.
like with George Clooney, I have way more respect for George Clooney. Not that I didn't, but after watching that David Letterman episode, it was just really cool to like how they talked about him. Sorry, that was really off topic.
You're
Go
good.
ahead.
You're good. Did you know that the Ellen fan base they actually have a name for their fans?
God.
Do you guys want to hear what it is?
Yeah, sure. Go
They're
ahead.
called Intelligence. I can't even say it. That was a horrible joke. So anybody else?
You get to edit this episode.
They're felons. They're fans of Ellen.
So thank you for joining me.
That was
felons.
better.
That is
actually.
so good.
That was better. Felons. We're felons.
I'm gonna start asking people like, you're either one of two people. You're either a buff dude or a felon.
You can be both.
No, one or the other. Is there anybody else in this movie that?
It's got actually a
was
really
pretty-
solid cast.
Yeah.
I don't know who the killer is though.
I looked him up. He was in some side things, but nothing.
Use something.
Yeah, I didn't. He was not. I mean, he's been in some stuff, but nothing that we
He was the
would
inspiration
recognize.
for the band Muse.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's all I
Cool.
have to say
You've
about
sunk
this
to my-
episode.
You've sunk to my level.
Wait, is that real? Or?
No, not at all, Matt.
Come on, Matt.
Dude, I don't even know what you guys are talking about. I can't even like.
Okay. So let's
Differentiate
talk
between
about
these two.
the director, Jim Gillespie. Gillespie.
Gillespie. I did not know.
I have known 2 movies that he's done. So he follows this movie up with the Sylvester Stallone movie, ICU.
oh, weird. He
man.
did that movie?
Yeah, I never saw it.
I always remember the cover where it's just like Sylvester Stallone on like a snowscape and he's like pointing a gun.
Yeah, that's
at
all I
the-
remember
at the
from it.
poster.
Yeah.
And then he does a movie like 5 years later. Like it's the gaps are pretty big, but he does a movie called Venom with I think it's James Vanderbeek.
Is that a
and-
horror movie?
Yeah, with Method Man.
Okay.
Um,
it's like a monster in the swamps of the bayou.
And I think Kevin Williamson wrote it.
Oh, weird.
Or did a treatment or something. I could be wrong on this whole
Is
thing.
Kevin Williamson still around? Does he still do stuff or?
Yeah.
What did he just write?
We were just talking about. I think we were just talking about.
We
him
just
on
did
a
the Scream
podcast.
episode on him.
Yeah, I can't remember.
This year, I think.
Yeah,
right?
we did. It was for October Scarefest or whatever.
I first did we talk about? Did he return to the show?
For Scream Show.
For
Oh,
Scream.
maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure.
But speaking of, Kevin Williamson didn't write this. Dude, from like 96 to like 97, 98,
He was on top of the
whatever.
world?
Dude, he was, man. And went with Dawson's Creek on top of that. Like, that's
Yeah.
insane.
He is the person responsible for this like revival. This whole like 4 or 5 years from like 96 when Scream comes out to like 2000 when like right before superhero movies kind of
Okay.
take effect. He is like this is his
Spearheading
This
the-
is his time.
yeah.
Like he is I feel like the number one person responsible for this.
Yeah.
And
And
he also created Vampire Diaries. I didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
really.
Yeah.
So he's got a hand in the CW still.
And
we're-
when it said he created The Following with Kevin Bacon,
Okay.
which I heard
Yeah,
is a really
yeah.
good show.
I think we talked about all of this. I
Yeah.
think,
The following was okay. I
But
watched.
it seems
I
like
watched
it's new
the
to me
first
for
season.
some reason.
Yeah.
And
The
he-
following,
he's
the following
good.
suffers from being like that Fox Monster of the Week show where it's like
Okay.
it's just kind of the formula for it's real.
It's kind of like
weak.
that movie Copycat, right? With Sigourney Weaver.
Never saw it. Always wanted to.
I know what you're talking about.
Serial killer, and then he's in jail, and then he sends his followers to go kill or do his bidding. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
Is it
yeah.
good? I always looked
Copycat.
creepy.
Some reason I saw that a bunch as a kid, and like I don't remember anything about it.
I think what saves the show is Kevin Bacon being on it, but not. I think it ultimately got canceled.
It did, yeah.
It did.
I think it was only like 1 or 2 seasons.
It had like 55 episodes, so I think it was a
Oh,
couple.
it was 2 seasons. Yeah, 3 seasons.
But yeah, other than that, book written by Lois Duncan. Honto read this or
I
did
love
the
listen to
audiobook?
audiobook.
I started. I couldn't get into it.
Oh yeah, it's super bad.
Yeah.
It's definitely geared towards young adults, and I
Yeah.
think because you told me that they redid
Yeah,
some of the plot lines for
Lois Duncan went back, and I've been trying to find this book in bookstores because I just haven't bought it online because I don't care that much.
it. Yeah,
Like, because you can find it for like $2 on eBay, like
Yeah.
the movie version where it's like the poster on front. And I've always wanted to read this book. But Lois Duncan went back a couple years ago and rewrote this book that's from the 70s.
okay, yeah.
And
Yeah.
she rewrote it to fit modern times. So now
It
in
does
this,
not work.
in this version, in the version you probably listened to.
It was.
He stalks them through the internet and cell phone texts
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Does not work. Does not work at all.
So I wonder how much of it you read was like refurbished and
I
not.
think a lot of it was because they were talking about like cell phones. They bring up the war in Afghanistan, and yeah, like I think when she gets the first letter, like I know you did last summer, it's via email. I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's all just very tech related, and it's just not. It doesn't.
I
work.
am okay with updating a book like that. I think that's actually
Really?
a neat concept because then you grab young readers that normally wouldn't read it, and you're like, "What's a rotary phone? What's this?" Blah blah.
Yeah,
Like,
but
why
they're
don't?
not saying like rotary phone.
No, I'm just talking about like in general, not just
Yeah.
like for this book.
Yeah, but then they could go look up what the hell that is.
Yeah,
But-
learn something about the old age.
Yeah, this generation.
Then go get that
learn-
old. Then go get that old. You
This
either get-
generation of kids is kind of stupid
Learn
as
about
far
their
as like
ancestors.
not knowing what stuff is.
You sound like an old man.
When they're
Respect for
like,
your elders.
What do you mean?
That's what it
the-
sounds like.
The internet never existed.
Old man Matt.
Like, what did you guys do before cell phones? It's like, man, you guys are so like yeah, they just didn't exist.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
it's weird. Yeah, that you wouldn't know what any of that stuff was. Like, yeah, like a rotary phone. Like,
Yeah.
it's not to say you didn't know how to use it. Yeah, but
Yeah, it's like I feel like
you've seen an old movie before,
any
right?
story doesn't really need to be updated for whatever. I feel
I don't
like
care. That I'm totally okay with
stick with
updating
your
books.
stick with your guns and capture the time of the era.
Yeah,
that it
if
was
you're gonna get
written
more
in.
readers out of it, and you're gonna get more kids interested if it
Nah.
relates to
no,
them.
it's not about that though.
Yeah.
But I feel
No,
like
it just sounds like two old guys saying like, "No, keep it the way it is." Like I'm
Well,
totally
why don't you
okay.
read-
you
why don't
are
you-
in
why
a
don't you-
minority group.
Why don't
right
you
now
read the
think
book?
so.
for
Read the
this
book
kind
and
of
finish
stuff.
it.
But this is the same.
You're cool with them like updating Star Wars and fixing it?
God, that is the worst decision
No.
anybody's
It's-
ever
no.
made.
This
Or
is
ET?
different. This is
the same. No,
it's the same concept.
thing.
It is the same concept.
This is the idea of remaking a movie for a modern time. That is the exact same thing of remaking that book for a modern
it
time.
would make sense if a different author wrote. I know you did last summer and updated it. It's the same author who updated her own story.
So I think it's okay.
Nope,
I
doesn't
don't-
fit.
No, it's an opinion. It's not a fact. I feel like it's okay.
Okay, but
to
here's
update a
the
book.
problems you come into that, especially with horror. And you'll hear a lot of horror writers talk about writing horror, and it's like really tough nowadays because back in the day, it used to be like, you're watching I Know What You Did Last Summer, and you're like, man, why aren't they just using their cell phones to call the cops?
Yeah.
And it's like you have to get around all these like pesky things now of like, where it's like, okay, why do they not have their cell phones? Why do their cell phones not work?
Yeah.
All the cell towers down. The internet. Why is the internet not working? Like, can't they just get help through, the internet or in some way?
Yeah.
And you have to get past all these problems. So if you go back and you rewrite these stories, you sit there and you write something like, say, like The Stand, written in like late 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all these people meet on the road. You go back and rewrite it, and you're like, oh, well, they all met in a chat room. They all met on Reddit.
The forum, the
And,
post-apocalyptic forum. on
The Captain
internet.
Trips forum.
Yeah.
And it ruins the story because
For you, because
now
you know
you're
the
changing
original.
but you have to change story elements.
That's for you though,
to make
because-
sense in the time frame now.
Yeah,
and I
and-
don't think that works. And I think that's why horror nowadays is kind of like it's tough to write because there's, like I said, there's all these
right.
like trappings.
Well, then you
out.
got to be more creative, and I feel like it's the same way with movie remakes. If you don't like the new one, go read the original.
That's the thing, is that the original does not exist anymore because this new one is taking the place.
Yeah, and
sure
that's
you
what I'm
can
getting
find
at.
the original.
That's what I'm getting at. It was I've been having trouble finding the original in stores.
I think they've gotten rid of most of their.
Did you
their
go
books.
to a fourth grade classroom and ask if they had it?
You guys have Lois Duncan. I'm
you got-
taking this.
The original?
Either way, I read or listened to it, and it's not a good book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
and
fine.
I don't know if that part of that reason is because they're using updated technology,
Or for
the
4
story-
times
or
the
if
the
it's-
age limit of
Well,
what was written for.
yeah, but no, I just think the story's there. Like the concept is pretty
Yeah.
interesting. It just the teenagers in that story are some of the most unlikable characters
Really?
ever. Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah,
I think it also has to do
They
with
basically deserve the revenge that is taken on them,
Yeah.
and they all deserve to go to jail.
okay.
The book is way different than the movie.
Isn't
Yeah.
okay. So after that whole debate that got heated for like a second,
Oh, it was fun. It was fun the entire time.
Chris thinks books
Your-
should be rewritten.
Honto is
Chris is
sweating.
what I got
and
out
his,
of this.
Chris is just super emotional.
Hanto's face is beet red right now.
Is it really?
It is
I can't see
so
my own
red.
face.
Uh,
Do you
that's
guys have a mirror?
No, you're a cool red.
you look like a buff dude.
I look like the Kool-Aid man right now.
You look like a felon.
Oh.
So we're going to get into this movie. The opening scene, really cool. It plays Typo Negative Summer
That
Breeze.
song
Yeah.
kicks butt.
Dude, I
And
got
it's
into-
not on the Spotify album.
Oh, I have
No,
it on
really?
I'll have it on CD. I'll let you.
Do you really?
Yeah, of course.
Can
I've
you
been
burn me a
listening-
copy?
I will.
I've been listening. I got into Typo Negative like 2 years ago.
Are they
I
like
like
a-
discovered them.
Are they like a metal band? Oh, what kind of band were they?
They're like
they're
a metal, they're like an
industrial.
industrial goth
Industrial,
band.
Okay.
I got into them a couple years ago, and I just listen to them every now and then on Spotify, and it's like they're an awesome band.
Yeah.
Like the singer died, so I
Oh.
don't. Yeah, not too long ago.
I haven't listened to much of them, but,
But this version of the song is pretty cool.
Yeah, this
Song-
whole soundtrack is
song
pretty
was
solid.
Bad Ace, and it reminds me of the Lost Boys intro. the flying over the ocean.
It totally
Yeah.
does, man.
Good
Yeah.
call.
Yeah. Our
I
little
do,
sister.
and I noticed too. So while the song's playing, they're going over the ocean. The camera's like going over the water. You're hearing the waves, and it's
Yeah.
really cool. It could have just been like the straight song,
Yeah.
but it creates such a cool
The
like
summer
ambience,
feel.
I like it a lot.
You know what I will say? And I think Matt's gonna agree with me
What?
because we actually had this talk the other day about the way '90s movies look. This movie looks really good.
Yeah.
yeah, it
I
looks
think
pretty good.
I think the cinematography is pretty stellar. Like some
It's
of
a
the
good looking
they
movie.
they
the
took
lens flares are good.
they took a note from Jeff Goldblum's Hideaway.
Can I tell you what this opening? We're gonna talk about more of this opening scene. You know what this reminds me of?
If you say Lost Boys, then please
Yeah.
rewind 2 minutes ago.
Okay. The music even like kind of cues in. It reminds me of the opening of Lethal Weapon. It's a helicopter shot, and it
Yeah.
goes in on somebody about to commit suicide, and then the music cue
Yeah.
on the soundtrack almost does that kind of same like dangerous cue that Lethal Weapon has.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
very,
As he's like debating jumping.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this is like shot for shot, like sound for sound, the Lethal
pretty
Weapon.
solid,
He
actually.
jumps off and then just cuts to a person laying on the car.
Yeah,
Cuts to Tom Atkins drinking milk.
I forgot. I always forget Tom Atkins.
I
is-
always forget.
Does he
his-
drink milk in that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's shot. Remember?
Oh yeah.
And, like the bullet goes through the milk carton. He's like, oh,
Classic.
classic Atkins.
Classic. Classic.
Always, the man loves his milk.
Every movie he gets killed, he's holding milk and gets shot.
You know what Tom Atkins fans are called?
What's that?
Class Atkins. Class
Oh.
Atkins.
Okay.
Class Atkins. Class Atkins.
I don't like any of this, but
Yeah, well, you're not a.
Stretch. I like
No,
that you use
they
like
call-
one.
no, they-
you use one syllable from their name and you like
Yeah.
attach it.
His
to
name
them.
is Atkins. Class Act. Class
they're
Atkins.
just, no, they're fatkins.
What? Oh, okay. It took me a second.
They're what?
Honto loved that joke so much. You already
They're-
said.
no, I don't really.
Go ahead and repeat. When Honto's done,
I'm
being-
trying to understand it.
Honto's beat red because he's laughing at this joke so hard. Go ahead.
Cool Red.
Go ahead and repeat it.
They're fatkins. They're fans of Atkins.
Oh, that's really good.
Same with like felons. They're fans of Ellens.
Was that in? Was
Don't-
that in
don't-
the,
hey, don't
was
tell
that in
bad-
the Lois Duncan book?
Don't tell a bad joke and then be like, remember the one I said earlier?
Like the joke. The joke was on the first page, and then the answer was on the back page, and you're like,
It's the same thing. I'm just reusing the same joke.
All right, so we have this awesome intro. We cut to a guy sitting on a cliff, and cuts. We see fireworks. It's 4th of July. And so we have like this. I guess like the
It's like the town. Was it? It's not. It's like a yearly. It's like a parade slash
yeah,
beauty
it's
pageant.
it's a small town. I like the way this town looks. I like the feel of it. But they're basically having a pageant, and Sarah Michelle Gellar is in said pageant. And this, I know Matt's already going to say, this is like a scary movie moment because basically Sarah Michelle Gellar's on the stage, and across from the stage is this balcony where you have all of her friends and they're like cheering Sarah Michelle Gellar on.
This is a VIP.
I like how.
VIP
Okay, I'm gonna
seats.
bring this up really quick though. I like how you keep saying like, I know Matt's gonna say this, but you're the one who's saying it. And
Yeah.
He keeps comparing the movie to Scary Movie.
Yeah.
And he's like, I never thought
said
of
it
Scary.
once. I said
he's
it
like, I never
once.
thought of Scary Movie this whole time. Dude, you brought up Scary Movie 3 times so far in this podcast.
What are those
I haven't
things?
brought it up once.
What are those things called where like you type in like a bunch of words and then like you can create like an art piece of how many times one word is used?
Oh, I see. It's like
and it takes up like the
a book?
majority
a book.
words on trees that were cut down.
Really skinny
They
trees.
Really skinny trees.
they do a process where they manufacture paper and they eventually put words on it.
Man, what are
They,
those called?
they bind it. What is that?
What is that? I think they sell them at stores.
Oh my god, whatever.
I think you could rent them too.
It's like a collage, and it like generates what word is used the most, or something like that. And so, like, scary
Yeah.
movie would be the biggest word, and then no,
Is this like a hashtag or something, or like
Where is this
Forget it.
going?
I don't know. It was a joke that whatever.
I'm lost? Maybe we can revisit sometime.
It's just we talk about
this
scary
episode.
movie a lot. Anyway,
I'm not gonna bring up Scary Movie at all on this podcast.
I have not either. I've only been participating in the
cool.
conversation.
I
I'm
won't
not
bring it
going
up.
to.
I won't bring it up for the rest
All
of the
right,
podcast.
don't bring it up then, Chris.
Bring up what? Dun.
Good job, man. I
nice.
almost fell for that.
I wish you. would.
I was like, Scott.
Scatman Scruthers. All right, so they're at the pageant. Sarah Michelle Gellar ends up winning, and they go to this big after party. And Johnny Galecki comes up to Jennifer Love Hewitt and he's like, "Hey, I bought you a shot." And then Barry, who's Ryan Felipe,
Well, Jennifer Love Hewitt's like, I'm not interested.
yeah,
Maybe-
and
maybe-
Johnny Galecki comes on
maybe
kind of
no.
strong,
Maybe
but
no.
not strong enough that Ryan Felipe should come over and push him and drink his shot. Like
Only friends in this
Dude,
toast.
he is a tool in this movie, man.
kinda
He is a
is.
complete.
Why
jerk.
is he not the killer in this movie? Like, why didn't they use him as a red herring? Where he's like, oh man, like almost to the beat, almost.
They never do.
But they should have. Where they could have been
Yeah.
like, you know what?
I'm gonna
like,
take out the people that know the secret.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like because I would.
That would be okay.
I would sit there and think he was the killer before.
That's something
Freddie Prinze Jr.
they should have done is have multiple red herrings, and then it's revealed that the big plot, convoluted plot or whatever of like he was just there killing somebody else and then got hit in the process or whatever.
Because they kind
Okay.
of abandon. There's a mystery aura to the beginning half of the movie where they're like, who is this person that knows what we did last summer?
Yeah.
Right? that sounded way cooler in my head. But there's there's that mystery element,
Yeah.
and then they kind of like abandon in it like halfway through. They're like, it's not. They're like, they don't really say who it could possibly be,
Yeah.
because they think it's Max at one point, and they bump off Max really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
So
killed
the
him off way
mystery
too
element's
fast.
the mystery element's still alive, and they're like, okay, who could this person be? And they don't really give us any red herrings after that, and then they're
Yeah.
just like,
I think it was other than
they just kind of tell us who it is.
They try to make us think it's
Ryan.
Ray.
Well, yeah, Ryan Philippe calls him out because he's like, "You have a slicker, so it has to be you." Even though in that parade you see like
Dude,
90% of the people in the crowd wearing that hat and the slicker.
dude. And on July 4th,
Yeah,
sweating under that
Yeah.
slicker.
dude, how hot it would be on the beach.
it's so hot.
And they're just wearing all these Gordon fishermen are out there. Like,
I like how when they show that scene later on when she's in the parade, and she's like looking around the crowd, like, is it that person or is it that person? And they're just like normally having a conversation, but they're like their faces like almost like completely
it's
concealed.
a really
Dude,
stupid
how-
scene.
Oh, it's very, very dumb.
How
It's-
often?
And it's
do
like,
you
oh,
think,
it's definitely that person that's standing by themselves on the roof looking at me holding that hook.
How often do you think these people just hang around in these slickers?
That's why I was like,
I know.
almost everyone is wearing it. In
So
this
it was
town.
like the equivalent if like you went to Disney World and the killer was wearing one of those like Mickey hats.
Yeah.
And then everybody was wearing a Mickey hat at the park.
Or like a
and then
Friday,
you were kind of like,
or like a Friday the 13th movie, and like they're in a parade, and
that's
for some
better.
reason there's like 6 other people wearing hockey masks, and you're like, why are they wearing these hockey masks? Like it's
That's-
that out of place.
ooh, that would be kind of a cool scene, like a Halloween movie when there was like, well, I guess it kind of did in
or
the
it's
second one.
like Scream 2.
Ben
the,
Tramer. Oh yeah, Scream
Scream
2.
2.
Never-
The opening.
Poor Ben
You're right.
Tramer.
All right, you're right. You win. So they leave like this after party, this celebration. They're like, let's go to Dawson's Beach. Wink, wink. And
Is that what it's called? Is it Dawson's Beach?
yeah, Dawson's
Yeah.
Beach. Yeah,
I totally missed that.
yeah. And so they go to the beach and they tell the story of the hook, and which is I'm okay with.
They
but
had like
they're-
several interpretations.
yeah, and
including our episode that we did previously unreleased.
yeah, we have an unreleased episode where we did like a radio broadcast of that story of the hook.
Yeah.
Which would have been perfect to release around the time of all these Hook movies we're
Maybe
doing.
we'll get it edited really quick.
yeah.
Because there's actually a lot
I'll
of
be
fun.
right back.
So yeah, they tell a story about the Hook, and then they kind of man, you could have made this movie and not have okay.
Made
So like
urban legend?
Well, so like Hereditary. Remember
Yeah.
how we talked about like if it wasn't like a supernatural element, it still would have been a really good drama.
Yeah.
Yes.
This movie could have been really good because they talk about you're going to be a quarterback and I'm going to be an actress and you're going to do this, and like they have these huge dreams.
Yeah.
They hit a guy and then a year later they're just wash-ups. And you could have had a really good drama about trying to deal with the secret they had without having a killer in it.
Oh, yeah.
And how their lives are torn apart because of what they did.
Yeah. I was thinking, I actually wrote it down in my notes. I was like, excluding the plot of this movie,
Yeah.
the story elements is like probably one of the best story elements I've seen in a slasher film. Where
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you set up these characters like really well, and like their backstories, their future stories, like they really like, and like I feel like the actors play them really well.
Yeah.
Like they're entertaining to watch. And I'd almost rather have watched a movie where nobody got killed and they just got tortured
Yeah.
for 90 minutes.
Yeah. It could have been like
You
a
know?
psychological thriller where they're just
Yeah.
And that's actually kind of how the book is. There's no like hook man killer.
Really?
Yeah. It's just somebody knows their secret and is kind of blackmailing them, and then it starts getting crazy towards the end, and then
Yeah.
just sort of ends.
The Hookman kind of ruins this movie.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, the
Yeah.
story is actually pretty. It's all there.
It doesn't fit.
The book doesn't do it well because you actually hate the teenagers in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, they write them really like they're unforgivable.
Because I feel like you could have.
they're all Ryan Felipe's. It's just 4 of the same character.
They're all pushing each
They're
other.
all yelling at each other.
And the guys are standing in the bushes like, man, they'll just kill each other.
It's 4 of them yelling at each other. Like, can you keep a secret? Like, can you keep a secret? Can you keep a secret? I can keep a secret.
Yeah, it's just I feel like the slasher elements of this movie, and you can tell the slasher elements are put in there by the producer.
Yeah.
Like the production company. Like, we need to follow Scream. And we need to make a slasher film.
Exactly.
And it ruins the movie. And I'd rather have seen a 90-minute horror film about these people's lives just getting ruined.
Yes.
Like an actual, like...
So it would have been a drama, not a horror film.
But
Well, it would
if
have been
you'd
the
done it in a
psychological-
I feel like it would have
horrific-
been... Who was the guy who made Requiem for a Dream?
Darnofsky.
Yeah. I want to see that version directed by Darrenofsky. I feel like you'd have like this
God.
really depressing...
Because I feel like
sad.
I feel like where her like Michelle Gellar's hair gets cut off, like it's almost like horrific. Where it's
Also-
like, dude, he butchered her.
They,
You know,
like-
and it's like that
part
kind
of
of stuff.
part of her. Like,
But that's like a horror. Like
So-
imagine waking that up and then like somebody like trimmed all your chest hair off and you're
Yeah.
like, oh no, I look like a 12-year-old boy. Like,
So that's like the biggest
don't
problem.
worry, I'm not going out anywhere.
That's the biggest problem I have with this movie is like the betrayals or the acts of revenge are so minor to the main core 4, but they kill off Johnny Galecki in like the first 2 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, and
It's
actually,
just like, what did he do?
Oh, dude, I have a whole
that's,
paragraph.
that's an IMDb fact I do
is
have.
it like did stuff happen off screen or something? Or
Well, the intention was not to kill him at all.
Okay.
And then after the movie got made, they're like, we need to have a kill early on to set up
That's
the killer as a dangerous element. So they
that-
reshot this scene
Wow.
where he kills Max.
that kills the movie for me.
It does, because it's like, why does he get killed? But somebody brought this up. It was weird. This is on IMDb as a fact, but I think it's more somebody's like
fan fact?
fan opinion, fan theory.
A fact.
Is the reason why he kills Johnny Galecki is because he heard Johnny Galecki say that he was going to go to the cops. And
Oh,
if Johnny Galecki would have went to the cops, then it would have ruined the killer's plans for the rest of the weekend to like taunt these people.
So it was like his weekend.
That
Yeah,
works.
because Ryan
I-
Phillippe
yeah.
would have been
Okay.
thrown in jail.
So that would have been nice.
And he
I'm okay
couldn't
with
get
that.
him.
If they would have included that, would have been nice.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
Ryan Felipe would have been in jail for like an hour, though.
Yeah, his parents are rich,
Yeah.
but rich people.
Well, yeah, they,
But
like,
that's what I mean. It was
they
on
own
there.
that
I was like,
town.
this is a fan theory. This
It's not
isn't
a bad
fact,
idea,
but it's an interesting fan theory.
So after they're hanging out at the beach, decide they're gonna leave, and they're driving, and there's so many like weird things that happen. One, Ryan Felipe is in the backseat with Sarah Michelle Gellar, and he yells or he makes a comment, and Jennifer Love Hewitt turns around, she's like, "Can you say alcoholic?" And it gets like really quiet in the car, and everybody just kind of stares forward,
Rude.
and then she stares forward. It's a really like no one laughs, no one like it's
Yeah.
a really awkward like.
It's
way
really
to kill,
awkward.
way to kill the mood
Yeah.
It's weird to say that out loud like that. To like,
because you realize how serious that condition is.
it's like, and then he just kind of like looks forward. He's like, maybe.
I just graduated high school.
I'm 17. So they drive, and all of a sudden he's like, change the station, and he turns up the music, and he hangs out the sunroof,
All of this is kind of his fault, by the way.
Oh, totally.
Everything.
and he drops his bottle of Jack Daniels on Ryan Felipe's lap, or on Freddie Prinze Jr.'s lap while he's driving, and it's so stupid because Freddie Prinze Jr. looks up at Ryan Felipe for like 10 minutes.
He does like the.
and he's like, dude, what are you doing?
He
And
does he does like the Laurie Christmas from Dumb and Dumber, where he like just looks in the back seat.
I
He's
have
like,
this cousin.
What is going on?
I had this cousin. Well, I had this cousin.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's just staring at him. He's like, dude, will you stop? I'm like, dude, watch the road, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
And they end up hitting a guy, obviously. Spoiler alert.
It's not the
And-
killer.
Yeah.
Or
Dude,
no, it is the killer.
It is the killer.
Yeah.
So they
It
hit
is?
this guy.
Yeah.
Dude, this movie's confusing.
This
enough.
is where, never mind. This backstory
It's
is
not the person they thought it was.
Soup's confused. The guy that won't die.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they hit this guy, car swerves, and Ryan Felipe gets out. He's got blood all over his face, but it's not from him. And then
Those faces
it's
would be
kind of
crushed
goofy
in.
because Jennifer Love Hewitt goes over and grabs a boot, and she picks up the boot. Hold on. Matt started. So Matt gave me this look.
Where's the foot?
Yeah. is that scary movie?
Yeah.
Yep, you referenced
Sorry,
it.
man. Dude, I kept
You
thinking
broke.
about when you were talking about him
forgot.
hanging outside the top of the car. I kept thinking of a scary movie. When they're like, what's his name's getting a
broke.
blowjob, and he's like
broke.
standing on top. The guy's standing on top of her, and she can't get back up. And like the Freddie Prinze Jr. guy's trying to drive, and the guy keeps getting hit with like tree branches on the top of
Oh
the car. and
yeah.
he's like,
Yeah.
Dude, I felt like I opened up a window because I I said,
It just all came
all I
back.
said was, I know. I feel like Matt's been quiet and very calm. I was like, then
His face is getting red,
dude,
sweating.
As soon as I said, I swear to God, as soon as I said, yeah, and then Jennifer Love Hewitt picks up a boot, and Matt turned his head and made eye contact with me. And Matt's like, do you remember a Scary Movie?
Where's the foot?
Where's the foot?
It's the best, man.
Oh my God.
God, that movie just... I feel like that movie takes more cues from this movie.
Yeah, it does because it's
Then
like
from, like, Scream.
a lot of the kills I think are. I know what you did last summer.
The whole
related.
like structure of the movie comes from I Know What You Did Last Summer, I think.
like the killer is from Scream, and even the introduction with Carmen Electra is from Scream. But then
Yeah.
most of the rest of the movie is all.
Well, they
like,
have
I
the
Know You Did.
party from Scream.
Okay,
and
never mind.
then-
And then they have that Matrix scene for some
Scream.
reason. Yeah, from Scream.
So yeah, it's kind of goofy because Jennifer Love Hewitt like looks around and she's like, "Oh my God, it's a boot."
She
if
is
I saw a boot
spreading
on the ground,
her DNA all over this crime scene.
no, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
But I would not just like randomly pick up a shoe and be like, "Oh man, guys!" Like if I saw a
What
boot,
was the shoe doing in the road?
I probably wouldn't have thought much about it. Like I just would have saw a shoe on the side of the ground.
Yeah.
Is this a good point? No.
No,
No, I feel
agree.
like they
No.
give her like over dramatic things to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like clue, pick it up.
Yeah.
and, like
Yeah.
point out
Instead of just like,
lightly,
hey, let's go over to it's on the ground. Like,
Yeah.
let's look it on the ground.
what is that? You know, whatever.
Yeah.
She just immediately runs over and is like touching everything that has to do with the crime scene.
Yeah, she's like licking everything.
Yeah.
So they end up finding the body, and then they have like this total like serious conversation on what are we gonna do, and they I think they talk about like their future fading if they end up like getting the police involved.
Yeah, if they reveal, they're
and
basically
that's
screwed.
And this man, you could have had such a good drama film because it's such a huge like ethical, moral decision.
Yeah.
And,
It's that, and that's what I'm getting at, man. I think it's almost a better horror film when it's like psychological, but also like that moral horror. You know what I mean? That, like,
They never-
you just did something,
And they never really bring any of that stuff up in the year after this happens. They,
Yeah.
like how they briefly go on like how they are affected, the relationships, but then they kind of disregard it for the rest of the movie.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think that it's something. Okay, it's something that you don't see very often in movies where they're like, because movies most of the time they try to get you to like the characters, right?
Yeah.
So they start off this movie. That's where the tough part with writing it is they give you the beginning of this movie and they're giving you something that is so unlikable about your main character is that they killed somebody that's innocent and they're hiding their body. You know what I mean? And it's like, that is like a hard way to start a story because
That's
like right
already-
off the
yeah.
bat, you're like, I don't want to like these people. And I feel like that's where like the great story elements kind of come in is give them a situation. This is what sucks about the end of this movie. Sorry to jump to the end.
Oh, you're good.
Is that
They
they
usually do. So it's
but
okay.
they get to a point, well, we already said it, that this is the killer. This
Yeah.
isn't, they think they killed the kid trying to commit suicide. in the
David
beginning.
Egan or whatever, or
Yeah.
whatever his name is. It's Anne Heche's brother.
Yeah. So they think, so we as a viewer also think
Yeah.
that they just killed this innocent person.
Because they found the body, right? They found somewhere down the line, they found the body, so they just assume it's this guy
Yeah.
that they hit.
And they but they throw this away at the end to
Yeah.
make us like them more. They're like, oh man, where they're both sitting at the dock.
That's
and they're like,
the-
that was a close call. We almost killed somebody.
That's the cop that I'll bring up later on. That when you're watching this movie,
Yeah.
I came in.
Oh,
and
yeah,
there's a
yeah.
cop that shows up. Is like, can you please explain? Can you summarize this movie for us?
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
because he comes up because I don't know what he actually says. He's like,
He
"Can you
says-
tell me what happened?"
Can you tell me why he was trying to kill you?
Yeah, and I mean, Hunter made the joke like, "Can you please explain anything that's happened, like this
Yeah.
movie?" Like,
yeah.
Can you explain
Yeah.
the last 35 minutes of this movie for me?
As if I wasn't in it.
yeah.
And if the audience wasn't paying attention.
so it would have been more effective, and this would have never happened. Actually, been kind of interesting. But say you have a movie like Can't Hardly Wait, and second time referencing this movie, and then you got like your main characters in Can't Hardly Wait, and you love them, you grow to like them. And then the second movie is when they have a hit and run,
Ooh.
and so like you already love these characters, and
But it
so
gets
Yeah.
real.
you've had this setup, and now you're going like you don't like these characters yet. You know nothing about them. You've been with them for 15 minutes, and they hit a body, and now you
You're
don't
all
really
of a
like
sudden
him
supposed to be,
anyway.
like,
You
on
don't know
board with
anything
them.
about him, so you're just kind of like, all right, well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's why I feel like I feel like Sarah Michelle Gellar should have led it. I really like her in this.
Yeah.
And her backstory, and I feel like
She's
they
the best
didn't
part of the movie.
They didn't really do a great job as of making her a bitch. Like I
Even
feel
though she
like
was,
that was
even
like
though she was supposed to be that
Yeah.
character.
Well, her
And I read
sister,
that
her
on the-
sister does that for her.
Yeah.
I read that on like the IMDb. They're like they wanted somebody that could play a bitch, but also be like likable.
likable, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, but she's not really nasty. Like there's not
She's
a
actually
moment
very
where
nice.
she's very nice. She
Yeah.
seems really nice. Like there's not a moment where I'm like, man, I can't wait for her to die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so I felt like maybe it's because we like her so much as an actress that she's able to sell this kind of charming character.
I mean, those are the tropes of like any horror movie. You got like the nice girl, like the final girl. She's like the nice one,
Yeah.
and her bitchy friend.
yeah.
And then you have like the nice guy, the final girl's interested in, and you got basically the Ryan Phillippe, like the dick, the jock, or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and those are like your core.
It's like she should have been the female Ryan Phillippe in this movie, but she's not.
No.
She doesn't play out that way.
No.
But she's the only character I feel like I really care about that I like.
Yeah,
and so when
yeah.
she ends up getting it, I'm like, it's a bummer.
I'm out. I'm
Yeah,
out for the
I
rest
agree
of
with
the
that.
But
I did.
you go ahead.
I was gonna say I came up with it. Clicked all of a sudden. So you have I Know What You Did Last Summer is a sequel to Stand By Me
Okay.
because it's 4 characters that you love and
Kiefer's
you really,
there.
Sure.
Can Kiefer be there, please?
As Johnny
Yeah,
Galecki.
Yeah.
So you have these 4. Yeah, exactly. You have these 4 characters you fall in love with. And then you go, no, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and this happens. You're like, oh man, like what's gonna happen? Like I care about these people.
Yeah.
And so the tagline for the second one, Stand By Me 2, is "Death brought them together. Now death will tear them apart."
Oh.
Yeah,
Dude,
I just thought of
keep
that.
selling it, man.
Dude, it's
I'm
pretty
into
good.
that. I'm into
Is that
that.
pretty good?
Yeah, I'm into that.
But
Cool.
like, but I'm with you on it. And I feel like it's more horrific to watch these people get like kind of torn apart as opposed to physically get torn
Having
apart.
a physical manifestation
yeah.
person or whatever.
I feel like that's just for like we got to sell this movie. Like
Yeah.
it could be a better movie if it was set more in that book world, the
Yeah.
drama and the dramatics between the 4 as they try to. I almost wish like the sequence of them killing this person, because in the book they actually kill the kid, right?
Yeah, so the person they kill is actually the half brother of the person that's stalking them.
Okay.
So they come off as very unlikable in the book because they ended up killing somebody for real. And the guy, you actually kind of feel bad for the half brother because he's come back to get his revenge because they covered up everything like they did in this movie. But I feel like the ending of this makes the movie bad in a way because it's like, all right, you don't feel as bad for the characters because it's like a guy. They didn't kill the person that they thought they killed.
Yeah.
And the person that was trying to kill them was basically trying to cover up his own mess. So it's like almost like the hook guy is the guy that like is the one you don't like at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas in the book, the kids kill the person and it's them covering up. So they're like the main villains of the book, basically.
I would have liked to
Okay.
have had
Yeah.
in the movie. I would like to have like 30 minutes of them just talking about how to do this, how to clean it up.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe some obstacles they got to get over with dumping the body, and just having this night of just like a horrific thing that they did
The
and
aftermath.
having disposed of it.
That's the
Yeah.
thing. They don't show the aftermath, like the day after of how they're feeling. Because so 1 year, because they dumped the body, and then it's just like you see like that thing the guy was spinning on the cliff,
Yeah.
whatever the "I love you" or whatever,
Yeah.
and then just cuts immediately to a year. So you don't even really get to see how they feel a day or two after.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
I think
Yeah,
it would
'cause
help dramatically.
I just kept like, we're talking about it. I think it's like putting your feet in their shoes.
yeah,
That sounds weird, but
I
that's how you
guess.
say that.
I think you worded.
continue.
But,
It's like
how
you're
would you-
you're walking in their shoes.
we're all 3 pretty good people. Like we've never really done anything bad, So it's like, how would we handle if we would have done something like this and we had to try to cover it up?
Go to the
and it's
cops
like-
immediately.
Dude, me and
Yeah.
Matt would just argue and yell at each other for
Oh man,
7 days.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
And then
7
Hunter
days,
probably would have
7
left at
days,
that
7
point.
days, 7 days.
Hunter would have been gone 7 days. So yeah, at this point, Johnny Galecki shows up and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And
I think he was watching them this entire time. He followed them from the party, and just was trying to be part of the group.
And I think that's what's supposed to happen. Is they're supposed to make you think that he saw the whole thing, and
Don't
that
play it off like that.
no.
At
But
all.
I feel like that's what they were going for. Like, yeah, he saw it. He was there. He's trying to fuck with us.
Yeah, he's
Like,
got to have some beef on the four of
Yeah.
them, and that's why when he gets killed, it's like, oh, he had absolutely nothing to do with this movie.
Yeah.
Other than that, he's just like in love with Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, he shows up, and they kind of just tell him to get lost, and he does. And then comes 2 really stupid parts in the movie because they get the body to the dock, and then the guy wakes up, and they freak out, and they kick him into the water. and you're like, oh man, he was good. All you had to do is like sit him up and be like, we'll call an ambulance.
Yeah.
You're done. So they kick him into the water, and then I guess he grabs Sarah Michelle Gellar's crown.
Yeah, and then Ryan Phillippe tries to go retrieve it.
Yeah.
And this is the most unrealistic part of this movie.
Well, because his eyes open again, so now is your second chance to save this guy.
Yeah.
But
We'll go get help. I'm sorry.
But instead, Ryan Phillippe is like, and he swims to the top.
Not hearing anything. Nope.
Well, I think that's why Ryan Phillippe's in there. Because like
he's going to retrieve the crown from.
He never gets. Does he get out and say that he's alive?
No, they all know it, and they just kind of move on.
Well, even
Oh,
alive.
yeah, I forgot he grabs her. That's why
Yeah,
they kick him in.
But
It's okay, I'm alive.
I knew you were going to say that.
yeah.
It's all right. Hey guys,
I
really,
forgot
it's
about
okay.
when he's
I'm
walking
alive.
away. I'm just everything's cool. Like
just
we'll
gonna
just
go
go separate ways.
Good.
Weird.
I was going to say, well, then are you done with the scene?
No, I was just gonna say this is the most unrealistic part of this movie.
Oh, that
because-
he's like floating at the bottom?
No, it's because if you've ever been to an ocean, you cannot open your eyes in the ocean whatsoever. You cannot see.
It's a
regardless
movie
of-
trope I hate, man.
It's
They do it
awful.
all the time in movies where I'm like,
Your eyes will be burning.
they're
Oh, you're
swimming
saying-
around,
I see what you're saying.
Where they're
Okay.
swimming around and their eyes are open in ocean
yeah,
water.
and you can just see everything perfectly.
Yeah, and I'm like, when?
You need goggles no matter what water you're in.
He should have been really cool had he like pulled him out of his pocket, like some goggles.
And he put his
jumped
nose
in.
plugs on
Yeah.
as a snorkel. He's like, hold on.
But yeah, this is the part I hate from the movie because they had two opportunities to save him and they don't.
Oh yeah,
These
unredeemable.
Yeah,
Or irredeemable.
Yeah. So they make the pact, whenever we're going to speak of this again, 1 year later, which is actually stupid because in my notes, when it cut to her at college, I was like, man, they'd even say, I don't know if they said how long it had been, but I was like, what is it, like 5 years ago, 6 years down the
Yeah.
line? And I was like, oh, wait, the movie's called I Know What You Did Last Summer.
1 year is
so
not
it's been a
enough
year.
time to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It took
Wow.
me a second. So she goes home for the summer. She's in college, and she looks like a mess. Or you can just kind of tell.
Because of the bangs, I guess. Like
And
she has bangs. She
it
looks
doesn't
like
look
shit
she doesn't
now.
look like she's washed her hair. So you're like, oh man,
I
she's a
guess.
mess. But
Her
she,
grades are bad.
Oh, that would be.
She's a straight A student.
Yeah.
That's what they.
Julie,
they bring
Julie,
it up.
if you don't come back from break and improve your grades, you're gonna get kicked out of college. They should have done something like that, but they don't.
Well,
Yeah.
and then her mom is like, hey, are you on drugs? You haven't been the same for a year now. So
Julie,
we get
you look like shit.
wash your hair. So this is when she gets the letter
Yeah.
while she's at home and says, I know what you did last summer. And she goes to see Helen, who she hasn't seen in a full year.
Helen's smoking now.
I
She's
know, so
really
you can
feeling
tell,
the effects of this.
Well, she goes to Helen's sister, Bridget Nielsen.
Wilson.
Nielsen.
She's Bridget Nielsen's Red Sonja.
I know. So Bridget works at like this clothes store, and she's like, "Hey, can you tell me where Helen's at?" And she's like, "Well, why don't you try 10 feet to your right or whatever?" And it turns up Helen never went anywhere. She ended up working at this store after she talked about all these big dreams she had. So they go visit Barry, and Barry is like super intense, and he is like, "I think it's Max," and he's like, "I'm gonna go see Max." So they go see
Yeah.
Max, and I don't think
It's
like,
it's a whole let's reconnect with everybody in the next 5 minutes.
yeah, and I will say, you know what? None of these people look rough. Throw a beard on Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah.
Make it look like they all look exactly they did a year ago. Like make them look rough.
All of it's
Yeah.
let's meet this character. Oh yeah, this is what I've been doing for the last year. I've been working this clothing store for the
Yeah.
last year, and
Things
it's
aren't
like
the same.
Freddie Prinze.
Well, you
oh
don't-
yeah, I've been a fisherman for the last year.
Dude, give Ryan Felipe a gut.
Dude, he needs to be like Thor in Endgame.
Yeah,
like
give
gut,
me some. Make
gut
them
and all.
look like they've really suffered.
Yeah.
Don't just tell me you've suffered. Show me.
Don't make them look as beautiful as they are in this movie.
Yeah, they look exactly the same.
Yeah.
Especially Helen. You think Helen would be a little bit more of a mess, and she's really not.
No.
But yeah, they go visit Max, and Ryan Felipe threatens him. And I don't think Max is very threatened because he's kind of like, dude, he's like, get off me. Like, he doesn't really.
Yeah, because he doesn't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, but he just doesn't seem scared.
He's been moving on with his life.
Yeah, exactly. So then he goes see Ray. Well, Ray happens to be at the dock, and
Look 10 feet to your right.
Yeah,
Basically,
it's a whole bunch of look off over there.
Look 10 feet to your right.
Yeah.
Now go to the other side.
Yeah. There's that person, and then there's that person.
jump to the left, dun, jump to the right.
Same movie set. Weird.
So yeah, so they meet and they're not really a group again, but they've all met. And this is right after this is when we get Max's death, which I think is the most brutal part of the movie because Max is
It's the only kill that's like shown in full.
it's pretty creepy because he's sitting there. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no kidding. You're
Everything
right.
else is kind of just like, I mean, Sarah Michelle's is like in the shadows, kind of.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
with a trash can blocking the way.
Well, Bridget Wilson, I feel like they show her body, and that's probably
They
what
show her being dragged away.
which is kind of like, oh man, that's graphic.
oh,
Because like the hook's
I was
like,
like,
on
I
her.
just-
Oh, I thought you were
in her-
responding to what Honto
I was like,
said.
what?
Yeah,
But the hook's like in her, like underneath her rib cage.
Yeah.
And he's, like,
I actually
dragging
wrote
her.
that
I'm
down in
like,
my
oh
notes.
man, that's pretty intense.
hers is pretty intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like everybody else is intense except for.
the two main people involved with the murder.
Yeah.
Or the hit and run.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because they don't want to graphically murder them for
Their
like
beautiful
audience
faces.
sake. Yeah, because like they both get murdered off screen.
Yeah, Ryan Phillippe, they do. I'm pretty sure they use the same cut over and over again. Every time they do, like it shows face, like you know, it's
Yeah.
like the same cut.
Yeah.
and they just show the hook, like kind of like doing like this your typical Scream arm
With
on
an-
the screen, going off screen. Showing
Yeah.
that he's impacting whatever.
What I hate about this movie. One of the things I hate about this movie is I hate that every time somebody gets killed, the bodies disappear so quickly.
Yes.
And I'm like,
Yes.
you're
Oh, dude, I had
that
violently,
pisses me off.
yeah, you're violently brutalizing these people with a hook. And I want to see the aftermath where you're like cleaning up the dock floors after.
Yeah.
Oh
Johnny
no, the
Galecki
worst
gets it.
one out of all of them,
Johnny Galecki.
is Max in the back of the trunk.
That is a bunch of bullshit.
How did you clean that up in like a minute and a half with no signs?
with crabs and shit.
Yeah.
in
like,
daylight on a main road?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've always hated that.
I hate
That's-
that, and then I hate like as soon as Ryan Phillippe gets killed, and it's like, okay, you didn't see, you went up there like immediately.
Felipe,
Sorry, you went up
star
there.
of the shooter.
You went up there immediately, and there's no blood.
I said that, and
anywhere.
Honto
Like, you
started
didn't find
nodding,
any-
like, yeah, he is.
I was
the
like thinking
shooter.
about it, and I was like,
That's right. But no, we were
But yeah,
saying,
you go up there and there's like no blood anywhere. Like you didn't see visibly any blood, and
No.
like somehow he snuck his body off
at
that
least
platform.
leave one
down.
ice cube.
And who's the asshole who stops?
Matt,
like
you're getting
sorry, this
super
this
tense right
frustrated
now.
the shit out of me. Like when Sarah Michelle Gellar's on stage screaming because her boyfriend's dying.
Yeah.
and she's trying to run to him.
And somebody grabs her. It's like, no,
Dude,
don't get through this
yeah.
wall.
Who's the asshole who's like, don't worry, I got her. I'm like, why are you holding her?
Yeah.
Like let her
Form a wall, guys.
Yeah, they all form a wall.
But at the same time, she's not really saying anything. I actually wrote in my notes, like, if something was happening and people weren't buying it, I'd be like, oh, he's choking, or something.
Yeah,
just
but
to be like,
you got this
yeah.
girl who's been normal for her entire life. She lives
not
in
this
town.
past year. She ain't
How
the
do you
same.
how do you know? We didn't see it because they didn't show us any
They
of it.
told
but
us.
regardless of any other circumstance, why the hell would you get in front of somebody during a frantic moment like that? Like, why would you build a wall in front of somebody when when they're like basically flipping their shit?
I'm pretty sure.
Like everybody. Would,
Oh, I agree 100%.
What I'm saying
No,
is like
yeah.
if I flip my shit in public, everybody just get out of my way.
I would try to help her to figure out what the situation is. And
I would
if
grab
it-
her by the shoulders,
And if it
shake
was
her.
false, then yeah. But yeah, if she would have been like,
Use
fire.
your words, sweetheart. What are you
Yeah.
talking
If
about?
she's like pointing out a fire, and they're like, no, I didn't see it. Create
Yeah.
a wall, guys. Block her from getting over the.
I would
what
have
the
yelled.
fire extinguisher.
I would have
It's
yelled
so-
ice cream.
yeah.
Like, ice cream. And then that's when you just walk past and
Yeah.
get up there.
Yeah.
Or you just calmly don't say anything, but and just walk past everybody. Like that was the better.
Yeah.
do
why
like
don't
the fast walking, fast paced walking.
Excuse me.
It's just I hate it. I hate it because it's not
Yeah,
how
it's not how
a
people
mob
would.
of people would react.
So Max's death is like brutal because they do the claw underneath the under his chin.
Yeah, like the fish hook or whatever.
Brutal, man. That
Yeah.
makes me cringe.
And I'm pretty
watching
sure
that.
John Hawkes in that sequel, it happens the same thing to him. He's like another no-name character that has nothing to do with the revenge.
Okay, you have to remind me. I don't remember this.
John Hawkes is Freddie Prinze's buddy. He's like going with him. He works with him on the docks.
Okay, I remember this.
And then Freddie Prinze is like going to try to get to Julia or something. And then
Yeah.
they end up getting run off the road or something.
Yeah, it was like super
on the
brutal.
side. It's like it's the same exact thing that happens almost like with the cop. I think where the cop's like,
Yeah.
let's pull this car over and go help this guy.
Yeah.
And then John Hawkes gets hit.
I
and
remember this.
underneath the chin. I think you see everything. But
Yeah.
it's like again, it's like he's like gets the worst of it, and he's like a no-name.
He's
character.
like
Yeah.
poor guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, now Max is dead, and then we start getting like not like a montage, but like bad things happening to him. We got Barry, who's working out, and he gets one of the notes too.
in this fishing warehouse apparently.
Yeah.
That has the locker room, the gym equipment, and the reception desk all in one room.
Yeah, you're right.
Showers and everything.
Speaking, yeah, we'll get there. So yeah, Barry's working out, and he gets a picture of his car on the back. It says "I know," and he runs outside, and go ahead, Matt, say
What
it.
happens? I can't remember what happens. Can you remind me what happens in Scary Movie?
They like take a Polaroid of his dick, and it's real small, and he's like, "Son of a bitch!" He starts hitting the lockers.
That's right, because it's like the water was cold.
yeah, like
Anyway, so Ryan Felipe runs outside, and he gets chased by this car, and which I don't understand why he doesn't jump out of the way. Like, there's so many opportunities.
It's the Christine scenario of go left
Yeah.
or right, or
Yeah.
Prometheus.
Anywhere. Go anywhere.
Yeah.
And, Prometheus especially.
we should try this out in the parking lot later. I've always wondered about this with
You try to hit me
movies.
with the car, and I'm just going to get out of the way.
Yeah. I'll try to hit you with the car, and you try to, and we'll go a straight line, and you try to figure out as many ways as possible dodging my car.
I would just do I would do a John McEnroe from Mr. Deeds, and I would jump
Good
over the
reference.
car.
Whoa! You were the referencer this time of Adam Sandler.
yeah,
I know.
dude, you did it.
Proud of it.
Welcome.
Just to show you where we're at in the Adam Sandler timeline, Adam Sandler just had a new movie released yesterday.
I want to watch this. I want to watch
It's
this.
a murder mystery movie with Jennifer Aniston.
Did you hear,
Oh,
though,
okay.
about what his next project is?
No, I'm listening.
Apparently, it's him, and he has to go to, this, New England town and save Halloween or something like that. So it's a
Interesting.
Halloween-themed Adam Sandler movie.
This is a Netflix
This is what
movie?
I've been waiting for, dude. I love when comedy and horror mash.
Dude, if this movie is horrible, I'm still going to refer to it as your movie.
My movie.
Like, it's
You're
Matt's
super-
movie.
But dude,
super jacked about
I talked about this several times in the podcast. I wish that Hotel Transylvania would have been a real life movie.
You have talked about
And it
this,
would have been
yeah.
the actors like David Spade in makeup and
Yeah, that would be cool.
Steve Buscemi in makeup and Adam Sandler in makeup and stuff like that. Like I would have loved to have watched that
Yeah.
movie.
Do you think you're just saying that because you remember that skit when Phil Hartman played Frankenstein?
Yeah.
Is that maybe where
Lawyer
it's-
Frankenstein?
And then
Yeah.
Adam Sandler looked like that was the opera singer. Who
No,
was wearing the cape.
he looks
I know.
he's the vampire in Chuck and Larry.
yeah,
when he's
he
wearing
dresses up like Dracula and Chuck and Larry.
Never
You
seen
remember
it. Never
Yeah.
seen it.
You never saw Chuck
I
and
remember because I've never seen it.
Chuck and Larry's pretty good, man.
But man, what a fun movie that would have been. Like,
yeah, I know.
even if it would have been bad,
What a
it would
fun
have probably been-
movie!
it would have
Matt
been,
is
like, a really
standing
fun
on the
movie.
table right now,
Yeah, he's
telling us about that. You got to calm down. You have to relax.
We have to change history.
We have to-
We have to go back in time again.
So Ryan Felipe gets hit by the car, brutally hit, and
So in the book,
Yeah.
he actually gets the note saying like meet at the football field. Like
is
at
it
the,
spelled MEAT? It's like
Yeah,
meat at the
meat.
football.
Yeah, there you
Oh
go.
shit, I love it.
Yeah.
I love
I love meat.
I love meat.
He meets with the killer, and then it's the same situation, but he actually shoots Ryan Felipe or the character in the spine.
Really?
He gets like paralyzed from the
Wow.
waist down. Yeah,
So, but they didn't want to do a movie where he would have been paralyzed for the rest of the movie, right? So they're like,
he's totally
Give him
normal.
a
After,
broken
after he
toe.
gets massively injured from this car, he's like totally fine.
yeah,
Yeah, he's got a few scratches on his
scratch
face.
my eyebrow.
Oh, ouch! Ooh,
Yeah, they do it like they go soft on the pretty people in this movie.
They
I feel
really
like.
do.
They kind of
to the point where they have to show him getting killed off screen.
yeah.
So they kind of form this opinion that someone who died that night could be the person they hit.
Yeah.
So they go to visit this person, the kid sitting on the cliff at the beginning.
They find out that he was found like that same night, like in
Okay.
a fishing net, I think.
Yeah, so they think that was
Yeah, that had
that's
to be
who they
him.
hit.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, he has. I don't know. Let's go visit this house and see if we can get more information. This is when we meet Anne Heche, and she talks about her brother dying the previous summer.
She actually, the way she is portrayed in this movie is how the rest of the characters should be portrayed a year after the events.
all kind of like distraught,
Like
kind of.
she even says, like, yeah, nothing has been the same since he
Yeah.
died.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. And she looks disheveled. She just looks like she's suffered from a
Yeah.
tragic event.
I think
Well,
you're
this
right.
this may actually come from a real life event. She had a stepbrother that committed suicide.
Oh, okay.
So
Really?
yeah,
Okay,
you
so-
can. This might be a little bit of method acting.
So she probably
Wow.
tapped into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're right because she even talks about like, I don't get a lot of visitors around here. She seems like she wants that
Yeah.
attention.
She says nothing has been the same ever since the death.
I know it ruins it for me. Is they try to give her like a
Red herring.
Texas chainsaw, like,
Yep.
and she's not
She
like
lives in
that
the
at all.
sticks.
Yeah, like, ooh,
Yeah.
who's this? Like,
Yeah.
it shouldn't be like that at all.
Oh, you know. By the way, here's a really quick side fact.
Is this about Adam Sandler again?
No, Adam Sandler should be making
Texas Chainsaw.
what he should be doing. No, this house is the house that is used in the first Conjuring movie.
Oh, is it
Oh, that's a
really?
neat fact.
Isn't that kind of cool?
Nice.
That is cool.
Yeah, and the road that they drive on in the beginning of the movie where they hit the kid.
Is it the same one from Scary Movie?
Yeah, probably. It's from The Birds. The same road that was in The
Okay.
Birds?
It's probably the Pacific Coast Highway because they filmed in California.
Yeah.
I think that scene is the only one they filmed in California. The rest is North Carolina.
And then I think the end of the movie where the boat they're filming in Cape Fear.
Oh, on the same boat that went down with Robert De Niro?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good facts.
Oh, you know what I was watching the other day? Kind of a side
man.
thing.
What do you got?
This is kind of a cool little story. I was so Joe Bob Riggs is in Casino.
Yep.
Yeah.
He is.
And I was watching this interview or listening to this audio interview with him, and the guy asked me, he's like, "What was it like working with Martin Scorsese?" And he's like, "Oh man, it was great." And he talked about it. He's like, "Yeah, one of the first things Martin Scorsese came up to me and said was, he was like, what is your favorite?" He's like, "So what's the best women in prison movie?"
Oh.
And he's like, "Oh, this is great." Like he watches the show.
That's cool.
And I was like, "Man, how cool would it?" Like, dude, I would probably like my head would explode if I would have been in
That's
the room
kind of
right
cool.
there.
If he was listening to Cinemacool.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like my one of my idols, and then my
So,
other
so
idol.
Scorsese came up to
I'm
you
like,
and he was
huh?
like, "What's your favorite Adam Sandler movie?"
Manny.
Don't you guys think that Hotel Transylvania should have been real life?
Wait, why does Martin
Manny, I
Scorsese
gotta
sound
agree.
like?
No,
Hey-
I said that.
Oh, I
And they're like, "Get out of here, kid." And I'm like, "Okay."
Hey, don't you think? I don't know what.
Wouldn't it
that's-
have been spookier?
Who
Don't
is
you
that
like-
supposed to be, by the way?
I thought that was Matt's impression of Martin
No, that's my
Scorsese.
impression
Oh.
of me.
No, it doesn't. He talks fast and he knows a lot about movies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Nope. I'm not gonna
No,
do it.
I was gonna
Don't
say,
even bother.
Not gonna have it. So
Move
He's
on.
the man.
Anne Heche does talk about her brother's friend who came to visit named Billy Blue, and then they
That
leave it
sounds
at
like
that.
a mob name.
Yeah, it does. So they
Billy
leave
Blue.
it. They leave it at that, and we'll come back to it later on. They end up leaving because Jennifer Love Hewitt's so upset, and then they give her. And I do. They make.
They
Anne
do this.
Heche,
Yeah, they do like the.
Hey, you forgot your cigarettes.
Dude, this
And
got me.
Did
Really?
you jump? You
Oh
jumped?
yeah, this one got me. They got some. Okay, I'll say. Here's my.
I think that was in the trailer.
Here's my
if I
other
remember
plus
correctly.
with this movie. There's some good jump scares that got
I
me
did
a
not
couple
jump once.
times.
Which ones do you? What other ones?
That one I jumped on, and I jumped on. Gosh, what was it? It might have been the very last one.
When they
was
say-
every time-
when, they,
when it
oh, when,
came
her,
through
when
the
her
glass.
mom's like, "Julie, you got a letter? You jumped."
Yeah. Yeah, dude, right out of my slippers. But like, there's a couple of like, I think it's like the timing where it's like it's coming, and it doesn't come on the time
comes
where you
off
thought
beat.
it. Yeah, it comes off beat, and you're like, oh man, that got me.
Yeah. Damn it.
It makes you put your feet in their Crocs.
Yeah.
And you could really no.
Yeah, there you go. Common saying.
So Sarah
Put
Michelle,
your feet in somebody's Crocs for a minute, and you tell me how you feel. I feel disgusting.
why don't you walk a mile in my Crocs? So Sarah
Croc
Michelle
shit.
Gellar goes home, and you can tell like her home life is kind of quiet, and
They never show any parents.
they show
Other-
the father, don't they?
Oh,
Isn't
do
the
they
father
for
watching
Sarah?
TV or something?
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
Um,
what the dad's deal is.
So I'm gonna get to a really good point here, but her sister comes up and she's like, "Hey, make sure you're at work early, blah blah." And while this is going on, you see like the killer walking through the house, like
Yeah.
whatever, just doing his thing.
Creeping out on Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah, in all reality, he probably wouldn't be just walking around the house and that. I mean, he wasn't gonna kill her anyway, so why?
You would
is
hear
he-
probably like the sound of the leather of the slicker, like
yeah.
yeah, whatever the sound it makes. Yeah.
I decided that.
Like he's running through the hallway trying to get away. Like, it's like
So
a wobbly record.
In all reality, if he was in that house, he'd probably be hiding, trying to make sure he's not seen. And
I can imagine in
I'm trying to get this
closet.
quote up, but Matt, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, I can imagine in a closet and he's trying to breathe or move because every time he moves, it makes like a rubber noise.
Yep.
He's like, every time his chest is compressing, it's making the rubber
Yeah.
noise. Like,
Yeah. Exactly.
Go ahead.
So there's all these scenes of him like just standing in the hallway and like lightning flashing and stuff like that. And like we said, in all reality, he probably would be sneaking around trying to get to her. And I actually had a buddy the other day. Shout out to a buddy named Corey. He brought up the movie Strangers.
Oh,
and
okay.
there's a lot of scenes in the movie where they're like walking creepy and they're doing creepy things, but they're doing it for the audience. They wouldn't actually be doing that. Like, because no one's
Oh.
actually seeing them do that.
Okay.
It's mainly to freak the audience out. And like, they really want to do that.
Yeah.
And I feel like this scene is like that. He wouldn't stand all creepy in front of a window in the hallway
Yeah, he'd
because
be doing
he's just
regular
trying to get in
stuff.
there to cut her hair off.
Yeah.
So I thought that was,
once you say it out loud.
yeah. It is very-
Not going to kill her because that's his plan in the end. It's
Yeah.
just to cut her hair off.
to cut her hair off.
But how stupid would you feel if like this whole thing? This is why I feel like the whole slicker thing is stupid.
Yeah.
The city slicker. this city slicker's coming down here, and he's trying to cut my girlfriend's hair off. But like, I think it's stupid because it's like if he gets caught with a pair of scissors in his pocket, wearing a Gordon Fisherman outfit.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I was just trying to cut her hair off. And they're like, who the hell are you?
What?
Like, this
What
is,
are you doing?
know what I mean? If the cops caught up with him, like,
Do you think he cut her hair off with the hook?
no, he cut him off with scissors.
I know, I was just being smart.
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd have been really hard.
Yeah. But yeah, actually being caught in that situation would have been pretty stupid.
He should have shaved her eyebrows off because there's no wig for
Oh
that.
yeah, that's bad news for a beauty
And then
pageant.
the rest of the movie, she has drawn on eyebrows that
She's
look
like surprised for the rest of the movie.
It's like arced way too high.
one's arched really high, the other's normal.
She just looked at the Rock. She saw the Rock is cooking.
Half
Dude,
curious,
that was good.
half
Hunter.
not surprised.
Sarah, sweetheart, you look confused.
What are you talking about? I'm acting normal right now.
You got a letter too?
Did I say something shocking? Sarah, sweetheart, do you not understand what we're saying? You look taken aback.
She's just sleeping. She just looks confused while she's sleeping too.
Audience, do you remember that beet red look I told you Honto gets sometimes?
This is the reddest I've seen Honto go.
You seen that scene in Chocolate Factory when the girl turns into the big...
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But replace that with red. That's me right now.
Replace that with Honto.
You ate raspberries.
That was a good rock reference. So she goes to sleep, and then she wakes up in the morning, and then she realizes like her hair is kind of falling out, and she runs to the mirror, and it says "soon." Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says "soon" written on the mirror, and she screams, and her hair is all cut now.
Way better scream than J Love.
Oh yeah,
Dude, yeah, that's what I mean, man. Her scream is awesome.
And then
Yeah,
she starts
she-
like punching the mirror.
Yeah,
You're like, hell
it's
yeah.
an intense scene. It's like we're missing out, man.
Yeah.
Why are we not seeing more of Sarah Michelle
She
Gellar?
should have been a lot more. She should have been like the Jamie Lee Curtis of like the 90s.
she kind of was.
No,
And
she
you had
What's
that.
she in?
You had that. You had Buffy. You had Grudge.
Well, like slasher movies, like.
well, you had Grudge.
Scream 2.
But
it's
Grudge
Scream
is,
too.
Grudge is like a vignette of. I guess
Still
she was
horror
still,
movies.
yeah.
She's still in a lot of horror things.
Yeah.
So it's still I'll
She
give
is,
it
but she doesn't. There's no movie that's like hers.
Grudge.
Nah,
It kind of is, but that movie is split up in like 3 or 4 different stories.
I love that.
You
movie.
brought it up, and I forgot
That
that she
movie
was
is
even in
not
there.
Really?
good.
It is a good movie. That's a creepy movie.
I
Dude.
need to watch it again.
It is creepy.
Do you ever watch the Japanese version?
Yeah.
That's probably good, right?
Yeah, the Japanese. I've seen a couple of the Japanese ones. They're pretty
Yeah.
solid. They're creepy,
they,
man.
They creep it. Yep.
They creep it.
They creep it real good.
That's a cool shirt.
What's that?
That's a cool T-shirt.
Creep it
Creep it real good.
Creep it real good.
So the next day, this is when Hewitt finds Max in the back of her car. 'cause
Wait,
she
is
hear-
it Jennifer Love Hewitt?
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Okay.
Just yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, she hears a rattling and she opens up the trunk of her car and there's Max with like, and I'm not talking about the venereal disease, but there's crabs all over him and like crawling out of his mouth. Like he gets the worst out of this movie, dude.
Yeah.
I feel bad for
Real
this
bad.
guy.
Yeah, for like no reason.
So she runs over to Felipe and Michelle Gellar and tells them. They come back like minutes later. Trunk is completely empty. They don't believe her. I don't believe her because nobody could clean it up that quick.
Oh, for sure.
And then we get probably the most iconic scene of the movie when she's yelling up into the sky, "What are you waiting for, huh?
Oh,
Yeah.
What are you waiting for?"
This is cringy now.
It's bad.
It's like it's so over dramatic, and this is what I mean. They give her like these over dramatic moments where like she's not a bad actress, but it's just kind of like goofy. And this
Yeah.
is just kind of a goofy. It plays out goofy.
I don't mind it. It's okay. It is.
This
what
is
it
the part where I've been like not like yelling into the sky. I'd be running around like trying to find that one person dragging a body.
Yeah.
Well, they should have had her like
Uh.
in tears, like breaking down. But I feel like I don't know. Maybe they didn't give enough to work with. But
She's
like,
not good.
You don't like her?
Not in this movie.
Really? I think she's okay in it.
I think if it was me who would have done it,
You as the Jennifer Love Hewitt?
yeah, I would have acted like I didn't see anything, and just been like, just to like get at the killer, but I would act like I went into like the trunk.
reach for the tire iron.
Yeah, I went into the trunk and grabbed something out and just closed the door because I knew the killer was probably watching me, right?
Yeah.
And like, how much would that piss the killer off? He's just like, "What the hell?" He's like, "I set up all these crap.
I know she sees it.
I know she sees it. Was she stupid?" And he like comes out. That's when he would come out. He's like, "It's right there." And you're like,
on.
"So you're the killer,
Knew it.
Gordon
Cool.
Fisherman."
Gordon's Fisherman. So we cut to them going. Oh yeah, we get this totally extreme moment when Ryan Felipe greets Freddie Prinze Jr. with a punch to the face,
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
then Ryan who was I just talking about?
Ryan Phillippe?
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah.
He was like, guys, I got a letter too.
Dude, he gets it the
least.
the softest way.
Yeah,
He's
he
like,
does.
I think I got a letter. Are you guys talking about that one from the bank? And like, no, we're talking
About foreclosure? Like,
it's
what?
that spam letter that said like I'm available to take out a new credit card.
Yeah.
Like, no, not that letter.
Are you talking
okay.
about the one where I have to pass on to seven new friends in 7 days, or else I have bad luck for the rest of my life?
The chain letter? And you're like, no, it's from the killer. He's like, well, then I haven't received anything.
I'm still waiting. I
Guys,
never-
it happened to me too. Look, and like his mailbox is on the ground.
Just dragging it behind them.
It's just a mailbox on the ground. Like someone hit it over. I'm like,
Yeah, that's not that bad.
so they're trying to make you
Somebody
think.
scratched my car and drove off.
Yeah, he's after me too.
Blue paint all over my red car.
So they're trying to make you think that like he's the killer because he's not in this movie very much.
For a
And
second.
Because even Julie's like kind of confused too, right?
she's like, yeah, she's like, aren't you a bigger star in this movie? Where
Aren't you second build in this movie?
So they have this confrontation, decide they're going to work together. And then when they're on the docks, they see a guy in a raincoat, and Ryan Felipe guns it after this dude.
Oh,
He
yeah.
pushes an old guy to the ground. He's like, watch out! And then he tackles the raincoat guy,
Yeah.
and it's not him. And then this is when we get the parade,
But he
too.
gives it to him, though, man. He, like, starts punching him in the face.
Yeah.
When it's,
Yeah.
He turns his face into jelly.
Yeah, just like Drive. And then he goes around and continues that with every person he sees dressed in a slicker.
You!
It's a pretty brutal scene.
And then it cuts to the parade, and Sarah Michelle Gellar's in this like parade for like the annual 4th of July thing. Ryan Felipe is sitting on front of the float, just like keep eye for
Wait,
him.
you were just talking about the scene.
We talked about it
No.
earlier
Wait,
on.
what do
Wait,
mean?
did you not just talk about this like a second ago?
No, I was just talking about when he chases the guy down the dock and punches him.
Yeah,
Is
this
that the
was
same scene?
Yeah.
Oh man, I told it out of reverse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
I was
my
like,
bad.
I thought I was going crazy there for a second. I was like, did I just go into the future?
You're always in the future,
A
man.
future moment? Now I am.
Now I
Now
am.
I am.
Now
Now
I
I am. Now I am.
Matt, when would you say you're in the future?
Now I am. Now I am.
Yeah, my bad. So they're at this parade.
Well, I was.
They see the 100 people. I was. They see the 100 people sitting there with their slickers on, a bunch of these city slickers.
Yeah.
And it's all these Billy Crystals, like, hello.
Oh.
But yeah, that's when Ryan Felipe chases one of them down and beats him up. And Julie goes to visit Anne Heche again. And this is when she realizes
It's such a stupid,
It wasn't your brother we killed.
And it's just such a stupid reveal. It's like, yeah, he had that tattoo on his arm. And it's like, David didn't have a tattoo.
And they're like, oh man, I put so much work into this.
Yeah.
I mean, I worried
And-
about this for nothing.
Yeah.
So Julie, Love Hewitt, Jennifer, Julie.
Dude, you were what? He said like
Hanzo's shaking his
there's
head.
4 names. that
Downtown
he's given-
Julie Hewitt.
Dude, everybody in this movie.
Julie, Jennifer, Love Hewitt, and he
Dude.
said every single one of them separate.
Every combination
he's
try
like,
to make it work, and
At
none
this
of them
scene,
did.
Love.
Yeah,
you got-
love.
but
Yeah, I was
there's
like,
so
are you
many-
talking about Jennifer Love Hewitt?
Yeah,
or-
Jennifer
No,
Love
she called-
Hewitt.
He said Hewitt. Referred to her as Hewitt.
Like when you're writing a paper and you don't want to use the
Yeah,
too many
yeah.
times, or but you don't want to
Yeah.
use but too many times. So you
Or
have to
use,
come up
like,
with
the-
different ways to say but.
Like the
Although.
dot. Like you don't want to like create a period or a comma. It's just kind of like a, and then there's some space up ahead. Dot. And then
I don't want to
everybody-
keep saying. I want to keep using this word.
Everybody has their 3 names: Sarah Michelle Gellar, Freddie Prinze Jr., Ryan Gunther Felipe. Like they all have their.
Dude, you really had me there for a minute. I was like, wow, that is true. Everyone has 3 names in this movie.
Sarah Michelle Gellar, Jennifer Love Hewitt, Freddie Prinze Jr., and then Ryan Gunther Felipe.
You know what? Here's
just
the thing.
like a serial killer.
Okay. I understand that like you want to stand out as an actor, but this will not get your name on the poster if everybody else's name has 3 names on it.
Because it's going to take up the entire.
It's gonna take up at the entire. That's what it is. It's like that's what
Yeah.
the thought
It knocks out
process
all
is.
the other important people in necessary to make a movie because you got all the stars with their names, their multiple names.
Yeah, and there's that theory that if you go to change your name as an actor, you change it to 3 syllables.
Oh.
So it's like Matt Damon.
Okay.
Like it just sounds better. It
Matt-
rings better. Usually it's like a
Damon.
first syllable or 1 syllable for the first name, 2 syllables for the last name.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, isn't that weird? So you like you kind of like start like
Madonna.
yeah. Yeah, you got it.
Like Denzel Wash.
Ing
Yeah,
ton.
ton.
Nope.
Denzel Wash.
You either go like really short, you go really long. So it's
Okay.
either you do really short
So
with
you
3
just
syllables.
you just use whatever name that you have.
Yeah. Or you go really long with like Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Okay,
So it like stands out on a movie poster.
I dig it.
It's bigger on a movie poster.
Okay,
Nice.
Isn't that interesting? Kind of like weird little things that like you notice about advertising.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was gonna say this is when
Little Don Draper over here.
Yeah.
Ad exec over here.
Barry and Helen end up reconnecting. I wish this would have happened earlier in the movie, but they're at her like pageant anniversary.
Yeah.
and they're like kind of holding each other. And this should have happened 20 minutes ago in the movie. That they were kind of like, "Hey, I want to be there for you," but it happens kind of too late because he goes back up into the stands like he did at the beginning of the movie. She's on stage, and
Why is he like secluding himself from the crowd when he knows that somebody is after them?
That's a good point.
Well, I'm thinking that he's doing this to look on the crowd.
Oh, to get a better view.
Yeah, to get a better
There's,
view.
Like
Okay.
2 exits behind him that somebody can
Yeah,
come and kill him.
he's just dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sarah Michelle Gellar sees that there's somebody behind Barry, and she stands up, and she starts screaming, and then Barry gets attacked and killed within seconds, and cleaned up within seconds.
Oh my god, it's the dumbest part of
I
this
hate
movie.
this. I hate this because it's like
It's
it's
like-
impossible at this point.
It's like at this point in the movie, you got to explain that this guy has supernatural powers,
Yeah, it's like this movie
Or the
tries
killer
so hard
or
not
leave
to.
a trace of the body.
It's like it tries so hard not to be a supernatural movie or supernatural killer, but
Yeah.
it still takes those elements of supernatural. And it's like that doesn't make sense then.
The same thing happens. I think a lot of
grounded
this,
it in reality.
a lot of the same thing happens in that sequel where it's like, I swear the body was just right there. You know, there's blood like splattered all over the walls and stuff. Like,
But like, why not leave the bodies around?
it makes it creepier.
Yeah, it makes it creepier. The cops are involved now. They're
Yeah.
like, all right, there's people after you. And then
You
we're
had-
starting looking at red herrings and
said-
suspects.
I said you had cops in that Scream movie and it worked.
Yeah.
I would have thought the killer was the wolf from Pulp Fiction. And
Oh, yeah.
that would have made more sense.
It's like I move fast, I drive fast, I talk fast. And they call the wolf, and it's like 30 seconds later.
So let me set up the scene, and then I want to talk about it. So Sarah Michelle Gellar, the cops show up, and they're talking to her. There's panic, but everybody's kind of calmed down now. They take her, and they're going to drive her home. She's sitting in the back seat of this cop car, and the cop's kind of a jerk to her, but then he kind of ends up being kind of nice.
Yeah.
But as they're driving, he goes, "Oh, it looks like this road's closed because there's like a post in the middle of the road." So he backs up, and he's like, "We'll have to go down the alleyway." As they go down the alleyway, they see this guy working on his car. The cop goes, "All right, give me just a second. I'm going to check on this guy." He gets out. Sarah Michelle Gellar goes, "That's him. That's the killer." And then the killer turns around and guts him. Okay?
They park
Right
1,000
before-
feet away from this guy.
Well, no, I was going to say, this is like right before the huge chase scene with Sarah Michelle Gellar. But in logic, so the killer sent up this roadblock sign and decided, okay, they're going to turn around and come down this alleyway where I'll be standing here working on this car. And how long do you think the fisherman pretended to work on the car as cars drove by? And he's like, "This is it." He's like, "You're working on this car." And maybe he was just like hitting it with a hammer, like, tung, tung, tung.
Yeah.
And,
He's just
and-
hitting it with his fish hook.
yeah, ting, ting. So this dude probably just sat there and pretended like he was working on this car forever with this elaborate plan of like, okay, well, they'll have to take a left here because Brook Street's closed. But if I put a post here, they're
Yeah.
going to turn where I'm working
Yeah,
on this
exactly.
car.
It's too elaborate, but it's not explained. And I feel like I kind of like it when the setup's there. You know what I mean? When the
Yeah.
killer obviously set them up to be at that spot
Yeah.
at that time. And it's just like, and I know what you mean. Like, how
Well,
long did he just sit there and
How
wait?
long did he sit there? What if the car had never came?
Yeah.
How long did he work on that car for? Or what if the cop would just
is
drove past
stupid.
the cop just drove past him, and he's like, "Oh."
He turns
Yeah.
around, tries to hook it real fast.
So that
Or
was
like,
my.
why couldn't he use the car again and like, well, they don't
Or
want
block
to
the
reuse
entire
a car scene
because the road
anyways.
wasn't like entirely blocked, was
No,
it?
he could have got around
Yeah.
him.
But how many people do you think like would have stopped there to help him out, other than the cop and what's her name, Sarah Michelle Gellar in the back? And how many people do you think he killed in the process?
What if two
Yeah,
cars
right.
showed up at the same time? What if a cop car showed up and another car behind them?
Oh yeah, and,
And he was just like,
"Hey partner, you got my back? Yeah, I got your back."
or what if a car stopped before and they were like, they went up to him, they're like, "Hey, do you need help?" He's like, "I'm fucking fine, get out of here."
Exactly.
And
well, that
then
guy's
all of a
acting,
sudden the
that guy's
cop-
acting real rude and
Then the
real
cop showed up
suspicious.
right, but then the cop showed up like right behind him. And he's like, "Officer, I need help." And he's like, "What the hell, dude? I just asked you
it's
if you
not
needed
working.
help."
It just shut off.
No, it's not. Get out of here. It doesn't work for you. It works for the officer. Officer, come here, please.
Officer with the girl in the back.
It's like just really awkward as he's trying to like not like give himself away, but like
Yeah.
trying to get this other person to go away. Like,
There's
get out of here.
more cops coming surrounding the area.
Do
Pretty
you
much.
need more help? Well, I'm an auto mechanic, sir. I can help you more than the cop. No, I don't need your
Oh, I'm
help.
actually when I'm off duty, I'm a car mechanic, so I can actually help you. I'm the best person for this job.
That's great.
Get out of here.
Go away. We're wasting all the good surprise on you.
Hey, another Adam Sandler
There
reference.
you go.
So I think we have this might be my favorite shot of the movie. Helen gets out of the cop car and she runs away, and she runs over a hill. And as she runs into the frame, you see the killer walking slowly behind her, but you only see their silhouettes. It's
Yeah.
a really cool looking shot. And then Sarah Michelle, she
That's what the note says.
she runs to her sister's store where her moron sister takes the time to open the door. And Sarah Michelle is screaming, like,
Yeah.
I need your help. And she's like, hold
You do this shit
on.
to me.
If you were screaming.
Yeah,
if
you'd be
you
like,
had-
what are you crying
if
about?
you literally, if your makeup was running down your face and I can tell you were in distress, I wouldn't be like, "Ugh, hold on, I forgot the keys. Like, I would know something's up.
I mean, Matt got here for the podcast, and
Yeah.
you were definitely like, it's open, and it wasn't open at all, and you knew that. You knew it was open.
The front door
you
wasn't
knew it was
open.
closed. You knew it was closed.
so this is the
So
exact same scenario.
what happens if Matt was in trouble and you didn't? You're
Yeah,
just
and I was like-
it's open, God.
I knocked on the door because it was unlocked.
And there's a
was
Gordon
locked.
Fisherman chasing after Matt before this recording,
And you're like, it's open, and it was locked, and I had to knock again.
and you were
then I'd
taking
have
your
been-
sweet time,
Dude, I would have been gutted right in front of your door, man.
I don't know, but you didn't show me any signs of distress. Sarah Michelle Gellar is clearly in distress in this moment.
That's true.
well, he's trying to be mindful of the neighbors because it was like
Yeah.
early in the morning.
No, that doesn't make any sense. If somebody was chasing me, I'd probably scream my head off. I wouldn't be mindful of people sleeping.
I'm trying to make an example here.
He was your
go.
only friend. So Sarah Michelle Gellar gets inside, goes upstairs to call the cops. And while she's doing that, her sister gets killed.
How the hell does Gordon Fisherman get inside this building?
He breaks in the glass.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, he it's weird. He like breaks in the glass and
Does he do like one of those cartoons where he's just like, and then
Yeah.
removes
Creates a
the
huge
glass?
circle.
Yeah,
a
removes the glass.
Catwoman.
Yeah.
Catwoman. Yeah, I totally missed that too. But yeah, he gets inside. He kills.
he breaks the glass that she's standing at in like the scene right there. She's
Oh,
at the door
I missed it.
and he's right there and he smashes through the glass and kills her.
Wow.
And that's how he gets in.
I must have been running to the fridge to get some more Dunkaroos at that moment.
Sarah
So-
Michelle Gellar doesn't hear
some-
anything, by the
Yeah.
way. I don't
She
think
what?
I don't think she hears
No,
anything.
she doesn't because
No,
I
she's
think
upstairs.
she's being chased and then sees she's calling for her sister.
Yeah, or the music's too loud so she can't hear the
Yeah, the
glass
music
break.
was too loud in that scene. So
What's Sarah Michelle Gellar's name in this? Helen? Right?
Helen.
Okay. Yeah, so this Helen's sister dies right here. And then it cuts to her
Elsa,
sister dragged on the hook, which is, it is
that's
brutal.
actually pretty graphic.
So Helen comes down, she looks around the room.
Thinking of Candyman. That's
Yeah.
why. And then Julia was thinking of Hellraiser.
Oh,
yeah.
Julie, it's Uncle Frank.
You've got the body, and I've got the brains.
That's
I know,
Street
I know.
2.
So Helen looks around, and she finds out that one of the mannequins is the killer. He jumps out.
Good
And
scare.
Dude, this...
is this
so
the other scene that got you?
No, but it was just like this would be like fucking terrifying if this happened to you.
Yeah.
And you saw it and you're like, it's you.
So-
I'm like,
me and Matt have had talks about these cat and mouse chases that happen in movies where you know she's going to get it or he's going to get it, and you're just kind of waiting for it to happen because you're like, all right, time to move on.
Yeah.
I feel like this chase is pretty stellar, man. Because like her going upstairs and then she uses that like elevator lift to like pull
Yeah.
herself up. She jumps out a window, falls into some trash. She runs down an alleyway, and as she gets to the parade to get help,
He was already in the shadows, wasn't he?
no, you didn't see him at this point.
Okay.
But like when she's in the alleyway, she stops, turns around.
she keeps stopping.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she was like,
She's catching her breath
and that's why it's so tense.
because she's a smoker now.
I hate this. There's a part in The Conjuring that does this in it. Or no, not the Insidious that drives me nuts.
I'm trying to remember.
It's at the end of the movie where
Okay.
he's
I know.
yeah, he's in the other world and
Yeah.
he's like, you just keep going ahead. I'm gonna take a break in this kitchen. And you're like,
Yeah.
you're right there.
Yeah.
And then it sets up
right there.
it sets up like the rest of the end of the movie. It's kind of stupid.
Yeah,
I
know-
hated it.
I know what you're saying now.
But in this, it's like she just keeps stopping and she keeps taking breaks. I'm like, you're right there.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it tense. Like I imagine being in a full theater and her stopping to turn around and we're like,
People
no,
cheering,
keep going.
yeah.
Like you're 4 feet away
It's
from
the typical like
Yeah.
slasher. Like, come on, you
But
know,
it,
like
it works for some reason for me on this, but all of a sudden she gets pulled to the side by the killer, and it's kind of like a suburban life, if you will.
American
of-
Dream. Is that an American Dream?
Yeah. And as Sarah Michelle Gellar is getting killed, like this parade is just walking by unknowingly. It should have been the dudes with the stereo from Scream 2.
Dude, yes.
Yeah.
Suburban life, the American
They just
dream.
walk around
Suburban life,
They
ain't
cover
what
up
it
deaths.
seems.
Great song.
A, little A, bounce and B.
Dude, it is like a trigger for you two with that song.
I didn't sing it.
That song
You brought it
rocks.
up though.
Yeah, it's my favorite song.
That song is awesome.
I think the chase is really. I will agree with you. I like the chase a lot.
It works.
I think the emotional connections there because you don't want to see her get it. You don't want to see him
Yeah,
catch up.
she's the best character in this movie.
She's the best character in this movie, and you don't want to see her die. And I think that's why you're kind of fine with Jennifer Love Hewitt dying at the end. Like when they do the chase again, you're like, I kind of want to see if he's going to catch up to her. You know she's not because she's the final girl.
Yeah.
And you know he's not going to catch up to her.
Well, yeah.
So I feel like the emotional cord's not there. There's major stakes to Sarah Michelle Gellar dying right here because you're like,
Yeah.
she is going to get it because she's not the main girl.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Well, to compare and contrast, so this is like the end of the movie. This is like the last 15 minutes. So Julie kind of figures out who the killer is. I still don't know. And Julie goes to Ray, and she goes to tell him, and she sees on Ray's boat, it says Billy Blue. And she's like, you're Billy Blue. Maybe you're the killer. I don't know anything. So she runs away, and this is when she runs into some rain.
Doesn't he get clotheslined by
Ben.
Ben Willis?
Yeah.
Ben Willis.
And she runs to this guy, and the guy's like, go get on my boat. Go. And she runs onto it. And then she looks and she sees all these pictures on the boat, and she realizes, oh my God, it's him. He's the killer. I just got on the killer's boat. He shows up. And
he's
then,
like, oh
He
man,
sees the tattoo, doesn't she?
I don't know. I don't remember.
no, she doesn't.
Oh, she doesn't.
She never sees the tattoo, which is kind of weird. I feel like that would
That should
be
be
the giveaway.
that should be the trigger, right?
Might
Because
have been. I might have missed it, but I don't.
I feel like
think
there was
she
some
did.
sort of indication.
It's the pictures on the wall.
It's just the pictures.
Yeah, because he walks in, he's like, "Oh, those came with the boat." He's like,
They were there when I moved in.
makes sense now. It all makes sense.
"I just bought it yesterday." Weird, right?
Yeah, huh?
Hey, that's you. That's
Yeah.
strange.
But they end up having this whole chase on this boat, which is a huge boat. And Ray's still on dock. So the boat takes off. And yeah, this huge chase scene, I'm just kind of not really into it. I'm not.
It's a lot of back and forth, and then you find the bodies of Ryan Phillippe
And Anne
Philippe.
Heche. Why is Anne Heche dead?
No, it's Sarah Michelle Gellar.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I,
it's Sarah Michelle
I
Gellar.
always thought it was Anne Heche. Anne Heche does not die in this movie.
No, she doesn't. It's Sarah Michelle Gellar because it's right next to Ryan Phillippe.
I don't know.
Trust me, I always thought the same thing, and I looked it up. It says finds the body of Helen.
How did you ask Jeeves that?
I asked him,
Just
and he
Wikipedia.
answered.
Just go Wikipedia, dude. That people write down the whole thing.
Jeeves
first.
is like,
I'm just creating.
Why would it be Anne Heche?
I don't know. That's why I was confused.
Okay,
I thought no.
This
trust
one
me,
makes more sense.
I was
because
on,
her hair looks really short. I'm just creating a storm,
I was,
guys.
oh,
Relax.
you
I
know
was
what,
on your. I'm relaxed. I was on your. I was on your. I was on your.
the best stop.
I was on your level when I first saw this movie as a kid.
Yes.
I thought it was Anne Heche,
Okay.
Yeah.
but it's Sarah Michelle Gellar.
You know why? Her hair is short. Because I feel like one clue point they took out of this movie was that she's wearing a wig
Yeah,
the entire time during the pageant.
I don't think so.
Yeah, because her hair is not.
No.
Her hair looks great.
It's
She's got
just
beautiful hair.
She's got beautiful hair.
She's gorgeous.
I know, but she's wearing a hat.
I think her hair's just
She's wearing a
shorter.
hat in one
Shampoo
scene.
or conditioner?
There you go. Another Adam Sandler reference.
Dude, she's not
She's
wearing
wearing
a
a
wig.
hat because her
she's
hair
not.
looks so atrocious.
Yeah, because
And
she
then-
wears in the next scene after she discovers, right?
Yeah, and
like,
then in
she-
the pageant, she's got her hair looks great.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking it's
I believe
because
it.
she's wearing a wig and they forgot to throw that in there. And then her wig falls off when you find her body at the end. And that's why her hair looks like Anne Heche's hair.
Nope, that is
It's
not a
just
thing.
bald.
Wouldn't that
When you
make
find the
sense?
body, it's just a bald-headed girl.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's go with yours. No, it's Anne
Oh, man,
Heche.
he
That
killed-
makes a lot of sense.
Oh man, he killed Moby.
like the
But why-
DJ.
yeah, but
Yeah, no, Moby the whale.
Oh,
Okay, but
Is
if
that
they-
wait? I'm so confused. Are you talking about the DJ or the whale?
Go ahead, Matt. Keep talking.
if this is one thing I feel like they should have played on more is that her hair should be like a mess. It should be destroyed.
Yeah.
and they should bring more attention to that
It
instead
should
of
look
making
like
her
it should look like Helen from Candyman. From Candyman after she gets burned,
yeah,
like
yeah,
all all over the place, basically.
yeah. It looks like, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
It looks great. Great set. Great set.
Beautiful hair. I'm
Beautiful hair.
jealous.
I'm jealous.
So the chase continues after she finds the dead bodies on ice. And why are you?
That the new ice, it's like Disney on Ice. It's
Dead
like
bodies on ice.
Dead bodies on ice. Our horror themed ice skating.
Sounds like a '90s
Mom?
Ice Cube.
Mom, no one's moving.
So they get to the top of the boat, and it's when they have their final showdown. and it is so goofy because Freddie Prinze Jr. throws a hook into his face.
Oh yeah, his
And-
face should be like smashed, like smashed.
Wait.
smashed inwards.
He does?
Oh yeah, he drops like the.
Okay. I thought you meant like his hook hand. Like,
No,
I thought
no.
that's what it was like the hook that was hanging from.
Yeah,
the-
it's like from the sail or whatever.
yeah. His face should be hamburgers.
Yeah.
Hey.
So I typed in like
Because he has the hook at the top of the thing, and Freddie Prinze Jr. is like, "You guys had enough," and then
you
the
ready for some more?
Dude,
never.
his head should have like exploded on impact.
It looks like scanners.
Yeah,
Scanners.
scanners. That's how the movie ends, and you're like, my God.
That was very crazy. I knew this movie was a horror movie, but that was the most graphic scene I've seen in a movie of all time.
But we also get a really stupid one-liner. Well, it's not stupid, but the killer actually goes up to her. He's like, "Happy 4th of July, Julie."
It's not even like it's just the time of year.
It's just Happy Sunday.
Yeah.
In July. Happy A Sunday in July.
Did you do an eye twitch while you were saying that?
It's also in July. I didn't match up the timeline the best I could, but
So after the hook to the face, then rope gets tied around his hook hand.
Oh, he does a. Oh, okay. So I was trying to think of what it reminded me of after he gets hit in the face and then is on the ground. It cuts him on the ground.
Okay.
And it shows him getting back up. He totally going back to it. Adam Sandler. He looks like Bob Barker from Happy Gilmore.
Oh, the way he responds.
Yeah,
to,
he's just knocked out and then just opens
His
his eyes
eyes.
and then just gets back up. I was like, what the hell?
well, and then he gets the rope goes around his hand.
Yeah,
He gets
this
pulled
makes
up the
no
boat.
sense.
He gets pulled up into the air. His hand gets cut off. He's screaming. He's like, "Oh!"
Yeah,
And then he goes back down, and then the rope swings, and it swings him to the water.
so
It's like Norberg from Naked. It's like
exactly.
Naked Gun, man. It's just so ridiculous.
while making the voice of Joe Pesci in Home Alone 2.
I totally
Dude.
see it as from their point of view, it's one shot, right?
Yeah.
And it's him flying up, and he's like, oh, and his hand gets chopped off, and then as he falls, he swings, and he gives this real girly scream where he's like, ah, and he flies off into the ocean, and there's holy shit,
Yeah.
how did that mousetrap event just take place?
and then all these piranhas come to him while he's in the water.
Yeah, there's a sign that just conveniently says Piranha Waters. But his hand gets caught securely between the wrist and his hand, so he's fine there. But once the hand gets cut off, he's still hanging on to it. So the rope should
Yeah.
have fallen off,
And he should have
but
fell
then
straight to the ground.
But then somehow the rope gets connected to his ankle.
yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
As he's
whatsoever.
falling down, and it just cuts, and he's hanging from his ankle
Which makes me think, does this happen on these fisher boats all the time?
all the time.
All the time, somebody's accidentally just steps
They say
on,
that's the
they're
main
like,
statistic
"Whoops."
for death or injury on a boat, like a fishing boat, is this exact situation from.
they get
Yeah.
thrown in the sea.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of outtakes on Deadliest Catch of this happening.
Cast members just being casted
Camera
out
guy.
into the water. Camera guy number 5.
So it cuts them on land, and they're with all these cops
There's
and
that
everything.
stupid cop that's
Yeah.
explain the
Can you
movie.
explain
for me.
anything? What's happened?
Why? I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but
Yeah.
I forgot to bring this up to you guys. Why is it that the killer has this kind of this plan set in place where he's gonna fuck with these kids, right? Throughout the movie, and then it gets to this part, and he's just you know what? I'm just gonna chase her on my boat. I'm not gonna reveal her to what my plan is. I'm just gonna chase her on my boat. I'm gonna kill her. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with Freddie Prinze Jr. yet. You know, it's kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it's all of a sudden there's no plan. It's there's
He had
plan.
a year to plan out this entire event.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very thought through. Then all of a sudden, it's really not.
There's no plan. It's okay,
Yeah.
Freddie Prinze Jr. saw who I was.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave him, and I'm going to take Jennifer Love Hewitt on a boat. Why is he giving Jennifer Love Hewitt all this special attention? I don't know why. Because she if any
She was kind of on board too, right?
yeah,
at the-
well, she didn't really even say she was the only naysayer.
She didn't defend anybody.
I think she just happens to be the last one left, and that's why he's all right, you're. Yeah, I don't know. That is
And
weird.
then,
No.
why isn't Freddie Prinze Jr. getting it just as bad as Ryan Phillippe? Because he was the other one that was yeah, we got to do this. And Sarah Michelle Gellar was no, we shouldn't.
because guys, I think this movie is really bad.
Yeah, it's there's certain motives in the movie and the story. They're okay, don't do anything graphic to the pretty people, and we have to have these two people survive at the end. So make their punishment less.
Yeah.
we want to and there's all this. I feel like there's this agenda with the movie where it's make them likable, make them likable, make them likable. You know, like never disagree with them except for the ones that are dead.
Yeah.
And it's kind of stupid. It's kind of like the skeleton of this movie that ruins it.
No, I think you're right, and that's why I think that the last 20 minutes is kind of weak, because there's no threat. Well, I want to get my review here in a second. So it cuts to a year later, and Julie's back in college. Otto pointed out the bathroom she's in, taking a shower. Like, it's a really nice.
Oh yeah, this bathroom just makes no sense. It's like a laboratory, shower that you see like in Resident Evil or something.
Yeah.
So she's in like really good spirits, and she's actually talking to Freddie Prinze Jr. on the phone.
Ooh,
And
yeah, it's getting real intense.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say they're like, are they married at this point or?
No, it's only been a year.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But she thinks she gets another letter. It's not. It's for a pool party. She goes in the bathroom, and it says, "I still know," on the actual like in fog, not in fog.
It's the steam of the shower.
Yeah. And she gets creeped out, and then he jumps through one of the shower doors. Cut to credits. That's I Know What You Did Last Summer. Honto, you don't like this movie?
Absolutely not.
Matt, do you like this movie?
It could be better. It's okay.
I think it's all right. It's fun.
Entertaining.
Yeah.
It's entertaining. It's not like...
I think I like it better than
It's not boring.
Scream 3.
Oh, for sure.
I like it better than Scream 2. I don't like Scream 2.
Scream
Really?
2 is kind of not that good.
It's okay. Every time I watch it, I forget it. We watch it for the podcast.
Yeah, I don't forget it.
We got drunk, watched it on the podcast, and I think I forgot everything we watched, even though we talked about that movie for 2 hours.
We have a 2-parter episode that we had to combine into one. It's like a 3-hour podcast episode.
Yeah.
It was a long episode.
I don't remember the movie.
If I had to rate this on an alphabetical scale, I would give it a...
Oh, I see.
Did you have to think about what I said?
No, just say a letter grade scale instead of alphabetical.
An alphabetical...
Like a Z minus?
A Z minus.
That's what I would give it.
I would give it a C minus. I say C minus.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
with you.
that's about where it's at for me.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
that's what
okay.
I'm at.
I was not bored.
We gotta figure out, are we doing number scale or are we doing letter scale for this podcast?
We just do whatever. It changes every episode.
Actually, I think
how many hooks out of 5 hooks?
I think
How many cowboy hats would you give this movie?
That's for City Slickers.
I think the past couple episodes we've done letters.
Yeah, I can't
So
remember.
I give this a C minus. We're all agree on that.
Yeah, it's a C minus level movie for
Yeah.
me.
It's entertaining, and I think it's a good B movie to Scream as an A movie.
Again-
if you had to do a double,
good
if you had
call.
to do a double bill, Scream would be your one that you got everybody in. And be like, hey, there's a B movie afterwards. It's
It's
I
a
know
B,
you
and you can leave at any point after the good movie.
yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a good way of looking at it. But yeah, I don't mind it. I think the sequel is okay too. I
don't think so.
it's entertaining. I'm saying entertaining. When there's
I was actually at the end. Are we going to do the second movie for October Scarefest?
I'm good.
Matt's shaking his head.
I pass on it.
I think it's pretty bad.
We'll do The Grudge.
Oh,
It's
I-
got Jack Black in it.
And Mackay Pfeiffer.
I like
And
Mackay Pfeiffer.
Brandy.
Yeah.
So I don't know, and I don't know how to like look this up, but is this the second most successful movie to come out of this like
90s slasher revival.
90s slasher revival?
There's only a handful, right?
Yeah, but I
If
feel
you're
like
talking about like financially, I mean, Scream 2 made more than this. I know that.
Yeah.
but I feel
think the
like
movies are
Scream
worth
is like Scream. You know, it's the franchise.
If you're talking about as far as popularity, then yes, this is.
yeah, this would be the one that like. Cause
I don't
I'm trying to think of like if you did 80s, we just covered 80s for the TV show, right? And we did 80s slasher films. The two big ones are like Friday the 13th, or no, you'd be like Halloween's the big one, Friday the 13th is the next big one. You know, Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, is this kind of like if you were to say like, okay, of this era, this late 90s era, would it be Scream? I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Teaching Mrs. Tingle.
Dracula 2000.
Dude, you love that movie, man.
Urban Legends, like up there. I feel like people talk about Urban Legend a lot.
No, we
It's
talk
a
about
bad
Urban
movie.
Legends.
That is a bad movie.
It's a bad movie.
I think that's worse than this movie.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
I want to rewatch that. I really do.
The motive, at least the motive's there. Like, I don't understand the motive in this movie.
Oh, relax. Get off the
I
table.
know, because we haven't talked about it yet. I don't get the motive of this movie.
So Ben Willis killed David Egan,
the kid from the beginning.
the kid that was on the cliff in the beginning, because I think David killed Ben's daughter
Yes.
on accident.
Yes. So why is he going after
The kids ran over Ben Willis after he had killed David Egan, and I think he was pissed.
That's it?
That's it.
You give away, like, you just got away with murder, and you're going to give it up? Like, people, you know, and that's the other thing, too. It's like, you could totally play this off as people think you're dead.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I would...
This is how you get away with murder.
Yeah, like, He's like ruining his.
You
plan.
got away with murder, and now you have come back to get caught and get your hand removed.
just because you got into a fender bender, where honestly it looks like you occurred no damage.
You have
Like
become.
you're not limping at all in this movie.
He has become basically an immortal in a way.
yeah.
This plot is so weird.
He got hit
man.
in the face with that hook. His face was perfect. He's like Wolverine in a way.
Who's stalking them in the book?
It's
We brought this up.
It's the half brother of the guy they killed.
Okay,
He was in.
he's stalking them because they killed his brother.
Yeah, he was serving in either. I don't know what it was in the original book. It could have been Vietnam, but in this one, he was serving in Afghanistan doing a
It's
tour
probably
duty.
Nam, yeah.
So he heard the news, found out who it was through extensive research, and then eventually came back to get revenge because they got away with murder, essentially.
That makes sense.
That's a good plot line, and it makes you hate the teenagers.
Yeah, for the fact that he's going after him just because they hit him with the car last summer is kind of stupid.
Yeah. That's really bad.
That's
And
it.
Especially after he got away with murder.
Yeah, it's really
That's why you do not like this movie.
it's kind of it's a dumb motive.
Did you ever see the third one?
No, because
There's a third
they
one?
go full supernatural in that movie.
That's what I thought.
He is a supernatural being in the third movie.
Is he back?
It's the Hook Man, but it's
I think you're getting confused with Urban Legends.
Yeah,
no,
well, you're
it's
doing
not.
bloody.
Trust
yeah.
me.
Okay. All right. Well, go ahead. Well, tell me.
I think they literally buy a hook on eBay, and it's a supernatural being, and he's stalking them in a time that's not summer.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing I know about this movie is that I've seen it at Dollar General. I remember seeing that on DVD at Dollar General, and I was like, huh.
Oh, the third movie.
Yeah, like
was
that-
it? I'll always know you did last summer.
Yeah. Which
The group of teenagers have nothing to do. I think the plot is there's an accident with one of their friends getting killed, and then the Hookman is trying to kill them. That's the plot of the movie. It has nothing to do with the kid dying or anything.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds weak.
That's why it was not theatrically released.
We should sit
Yeah, I didn't
down.
even know it existed.
We should sit down and watch the third one of that
October
and the third
Surfest?
one of
Urban Legend.
Urban Legends.
I haven't seen Urban
Is that
Legend.
Bloody Mary or
Yeah,
something?
I will never
Did I
see
see?
that.
I think I've seen Urban Legend too.
That's
Can't
the
remember.
one with the fencing face. And
Final
it has
Cut.
Anthony Anderson?
Yeah.
Eva Mendes.
Eva Mendes is in that?
And then what's her name from House? What was the blonde on House?
Oh, was she in Star Trek or?
Yeah.
Okay, she was in it.
Yeah, those were like the three.
Wow, you got some
Yeah.
real heavy hitters in that movie.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty big cast. So,
Cool.
Wow.
But yeah, that's I Know What You Did Last Summer. Few news items. One, if you haven't heard, we have a TV show now. We are one episode deep. You can find it on YouTube. It's under the Cinema Cult Network.
Yeah, if you type in Cinema Cult Network, you'll
yeah.
find
It'll
us.
pop up. We did our first episode is on 80s slashers. We reviewed Friday the 13th, and we broke down our top 5 favorite 80s slashers. We do have an upcoming episode. We're going to do like maybe an episode a month. It looks like we're doing. We are going to do our next one on summer blockbusters, and we're going to review Jaws.
And we're basically doing like a top 5, right? Is that we're doing our top 5?
pick our top
lists?
Top
Five.
5
If-
blockbusters.
If 3 of them happen to be shared, then that's our top 3
Then that's
Yeah.
recommended.
Yeah, because honestly, I think that's what we talked about this in the last one, but we each have our top 5, and we tried to build like a top based off our top 5 because we're always going to have
We
ones
do it.
that
We
overlap,
do it.
whatever
for,
genre.
We do it for
whatever
the year
thing
in
we do.
review. We do it for the year in review every year, and so we did the same thing with the 80s slashers. Check it out.
Yep.
We have an audio version of the podcast
That's already up as well.
that's up, and the YouTube video is already up.
Yeah, and please like it, share it on YouTube. That'd be great.
Like, subscribe.
Yeah,
Well,
it's cool
wait,
to say
where's
that. We can say that
Subscribe.
now.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Where's it airing? Like if it is a TV show. Because we keep calling it a TV show, but we didn't say what channel it's on.
It's going to be on public access, but I think it's going to be in a small area. So
Got to
it's
target those heavy
probably-
hitters.
So
So if you're in the small area and you happen to be flipping through the television show and you find a television
Anywhere in the
box
country.
that you guys have in your living room,
Yeah.
and you see us, make sure to like share it.
So if you're
share
listening,
what?
Share it just on social media or whatever. Like take a picture of it, share it. Say like, hey, these guys are on TV.
the thing is that I don't
I
know
don't-
when and where this is airing.
Yeah. So
I know.
ignore all that.
So just if you want to see it, just go to the YouTube page.
I'm only trying to explain.
Matt,
what we-
okay,
It's
Matt-
airing 24/7.
Matt is totally trying to push this public access thing.
No, I'm only explaining because we called it a TV show.
Yeah.
and
I think it's
we're not
more-
saying
I think
that
it's
it's
more-
anywhere on TV.
I watch
I
my
think-
YouTube on TV.
I think if anything,
That's
it's
not-
That's a TV show.
no, it's not. You don't.
Yes, it
nobody
is.
calls YouTube shows TV shows.
If I'm
actually
watching-
you can get it. cable subscription on YouTube. So technically, it could be a
That's
TV
not
show.
yeah, but
Do you
that's
think
not
that Karate
TV
Kid,
that's not a
that
TV
new
show.
Karate Kid thing, is that a show on
It's
YouTube?
it's part of the streaming service.
But is it a show?
It's
It's
a show. Yeah.
show.
It's
but
a television
not, it's
show.
not a television show.
Okay, Steven Spielberg.
No, that's like saying
Netflix's Stranger Things. That's a TV show.
Oh, Matt got
No,
quiet.
it's not. It's a. I guess it is.
Then
a
you
TV
can't
show.
call any of the Adam Sandler your favorite Adam
It's-
Sandler
okay.
movies.
Maybe it's weird. Maybe
just
it's
put yourself in a
weird
corner, my
to sit
friend.
there
You
and
did put
say-
yourself
I
in a
know,
corner.
But it's weird if I say like I watch like something like
Waiting.
Angry Video Game Nerd on YouTube.
That's a web series.
Yeah, it's a show.
How is that a web series and not a TV show?
It's a web series TV show.
How? What's the difference between that and Stranger Things?
Oh,
is what you're saying?
Matt's on the table again. Matt, get down off the table.
Stranger Things is like a fictional narrative, whereas Angry Video Game Nerd is like a weekly, like
But it's like there's a fictional narrative attached to it.
yeah, I guess.
Would the news be a TV show?
No, the news is the news.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about what about then? All right, fine. Is biggest or what's the fishing show that you
Big catch, summer catch, summer catch.
Big Summer Catch with Freddie Prinze Jr. on a boat.
That's a movie.
No,
was
but like
released
that
the
fishing show is that a TV show or is
That's
that
a
because it's real life?
That's a whatchamacallit, like
Reality TV
like a docu series.
Okay. No, that's like a reality TV show.
That's more reality show. Yeah, like your National Geographic. That's a docu series.
okay. So you're
Like
saying
Planet Earth or was it?
you're saying Karate Kid is okay, but then basically
That's,
we're not.
That's a
we're-
TV show.
Then we're not doing a TV show.
We're doing a whatever I decided for Angry Video Game
See?
Nerd.
Whatever I said at the beginning.
So now we're back full circle.
No, it's a web TV series show.
it's a web show. We'll call it a web
Whatever.
show.
on movies.
Steven Spielberg, that's fine, man. If they don't
No,
count,
we'll call it a
if
web.
there's not real shows,
we'll call it a web show. then.
web series.
I'm saying we called it a TV show. We're saying like it's on TV in some places.
No, I watch it on YouTube.
If we can't,
But if you
name,
watch on
if
YouTube,
we can't
it's a
name
web-
the location and the time when this is airing, we'll just stick to web series.
Web series.
Yeah.
We'll call it web series. Or
Okay.
web
Basically,
show.
you get to see our faces live, and we get to say stupid stuff.
on our
Yes.
web series TV show.
Yeah, we might be a little bit more serious on the show because it's like a little bit more professional.
Oh, and we were kind of nervous too. We're not gonna.
Yeah,
lie.
it's the first time we've
I was
ever done
actually
it.
I was actually feeling it. I was
But
feeling the energy.
We get into it pretty quick.
We'll get it. Yeah, but yeah, that actually is going to coincide with some of the next picks that we're doing. Matt, you're up because we're going to do some summer blockbusters.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna. Yeah, did you already say we're gonna coincide with
The episode,
The
yeah.
episode. So we're gonna be doing summer blockbusters, and the first one I picked was Independence Day.
ID4.
I haven't seen this movie since the '90s.
It's been a long time for
Since
me.
it was on that videotape with the
the hologram.
holographic-
Yeah, with
Oh.
was it the white? No, it wasn't the White House. It was just
Yeah.
it was just the building. I thought in New York.
No, it's the White House.
Is
It's
it?
the White House blown
Yeah, it
up.
was White House.
It was a White House.
right,
That's
yeah.
pretty cool.
So,
Yeah.
I'm
don't do that
very
anymore.
excited to talk about this because I'm going to follow it up. Let's go 2 episodes deep. I'm going to follow
Yeah,
it
'cause
up.
I don't know what the hell I'm.
You don't know what
picking.
you're going to do yet? We're going to do the same director, and I'm going to do Day After Tomorrow.
I do not like this movie.
I might have to pick another Roland Emmerich
I
movie.
think
Maybe
you
we can
should.
do a. What else did he do? Didn't you do like a monster movie?
He did Stargate. Remember Stargate?
Ooh, that's a bad movie.
Yeah, but it's not. I don't
boring.
think it's. In
I've
the-
tried.
boring.
I
And
thought
it's
that
boring.
movie would be right up my alley. I've tried to watch that movie so many times.
I saw that
And
movie
it's
in
just-
theaters back in '94. I remember being the longest movie I'd ever seen at that point, and I've tried going back and watching it, and it is so boring.
Yeah, nothing happens.
Dude,
in
I
that
quote
movie.
it all the time.
And then a
man.
buddy of mine watched it recently on Prime, and apparently, because a lot of that movie is like heavily subtitled,
Yeah.
because like the alien language or the Egyptian language they go to, that planet wherever they go to, apparently they forgot to attach the subtitles to the movie, so he's just watching it as like there's just people talking in this random
That's so
language.
weird.
sucks.
And I was like, wait, are you telling me you watched the movie? There's no subtitles? Because when I saw it in theaters, there were definitely lots of subtitles the entire time. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, they weren't there. I was like, they forgot to attach subtitles.
Maybe, or maybe they just like went back and did a Lois Duncan and rewrote
Lois
it. and they're like,
Duncan.
we wanted the audience to be confused.
Yeah,
Okay, so maybe we won't do that one, but you think about that third.
yeah, I'll think about it.
But no, thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Rate and review us on any social media platforms, and we'll see you the rest of the summer. I'm Chris,
I'm Matt.
And I'm Honto.
and we'll see you next time. Hey guys, it's me, Hannah Montana, and I just wanted to thank you for listening to Cinema Cult Podcast. Man, this whole podcast is like a party in the USA. So if you could, please rate and review that podcast on any social media platforms. That would be great. And if you have any requests, go ahead and send it to cinemacultpodcast@gmail.com. I'm Hannah Montana. Bye.